Good evening, everyone. I hope my voice is loud and clear. Perfect. Thank you. So we'll start with the design of experiment, the last topic that we have to cover up today. First thing first, again, this is whatever we have covered till now. Ideally, most of us, whenever we go ahead and implement Six Sigma, we want to go and deal with Six Sigma. That's what we'll be dealing with, whatever we have covered till now. This topic is going to be little different. And yes, it is going to be sort of at the one particular phase, it will be little, I would say little complicated, but again, we'll go through that phase very slow. Well, because just that's the only, there's one piece where it will get little complicated. So we will try to go and make sure that we are able to understand it like very gradual way rather than just running through that topic. This is more on the research and development side. So people primarily in the research and development side will be the one. So if your job role involves using if it's in a research and development kind of thing, there the Six Sigma implementation happens through this method. So we'll talk about basically before we get into design of experiment, well, what are ways how people deal with so-called Six Sigma here. So one we already know, which is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control, the REMAT method, which we have already studied, be it a normal data, be it a non-normal data, how to deal with it. That's going to be the standard way of solving a problem. So DMAC method is used when you have an existing process. There is a process already. Probably the process is, everything is going fine, but you believe you can do better. You will go with DMAC approach to set a higher target, set the benchmarks higher, and achieve improve the process further. Although there are no challenges, but you want to make it better, continuous improvement. Or there is a process where there are a lot of issues, struggles, complaints, misses on the contracts, contractual obligations as a customer. We are not doing good. We will go with DMAC again. So there has to be an existing process for you to work on DMAIC, which you need to improve. And obviously, there's a bad phase, and you want to make it good. Having said that, the one we talk about is DFSS. That's also a way of implementing Six Sigma. That's called design for Six Sigma. And this is used primarily in the research and development part where you create something new. It's not something which you're working on already. It's creation of something new with a product, service, design, result, COVID vaccines for that matter. That's done through DFSS. For that matter, you see a new mobile phone coming in the market, a new car coming in the market. So all the research and development work which happens, a lot of things are guided by statistics. And that statistics part helps them to take a decision and yes, create a solution. So it's just not about analyzing, it helps you to create a solution, design a solution. So this COVID vaccine actually happened through this, thanks to this statistical approach, which helped them to make this vaccine too sooner, in a record time, because generally a vaccine takes about 5 years, 6 years time for it to be developed and tested. So whatever when we talk about with a DMAC approach, we try to sit through and we discuss about the possible solutions, we implement them, we improve them, and all that happens. But here in a design of experiment, it's one standalone tool where everything will happen, the data collection, your analysis, your verification, everything will happen in one single go. So it is the most complex one. I would say when everything that you have learned about data collection, everything we talked about, analysis, your ANOVA analysis, your regression analysis, everything will merge into one piece called DOE. Most an advanced way of dealing with statistics here, technically trying to create something which has never been done before. You're trying to create something based on the market needs, the customer demands. You're creating something new. The only difference is one, we were improving an existing process. Here we are creating something new. And how that happens, we'll just try to go and relate it with a very simple example, so that before we get into the DOE concept here, and in short, we call this DOE as design of experiment. Now, where
in short, we can say whenever we have a new invention, DOE we have to implement.
Yes, it is 100% yes. So I'll just further break down the DFSS into two ways. The further bifurcation of DFSS. So DFSS is about creating. Now, how do you do that? There are two further versions of DFSS also. both have a common tool called design of experiment. Both the methods, like we have DMAIC. Similarly, we have a DMADV, and then we have a method called IPOND. So DMADV stands for design, define, but that remains the same: define, measure, analyze, design, and verify. And this is the type of DFSs. Another type of DFS is identify, design, optimize, and verify. Now, the first part of this DMADV is wherein, as a company, you're trying to create, like, so we create a new product, as per the customer requirement, which is new for the company and for the world, but not for the world. Basically, let's say this Elon Musk, like we know that this guy is into space programs and the SpaceX thing. He's into this electric cars, the electric cars that he has, and then we have this Twitter sort of thing. So this diversification has happened. Now we are like, this is already on the news that these guys are now getting into mobile phones, and they would probably come up with a new generation mobile phones, something which will be a game changer. Nobody has seen like the kind of phones before and all that jazz. So, well, we understand that there is something new they're going to be getting into. They have never done a mobile phone. Will it be a new thing for them? Definitely, yes. It's going to be absolutely new. You're getting into a new segment, a new market altogether. It is going to be new stuff for you because you're not the one making those phones. You're not in that industry. But yes, do you have some information with you? Sort of, yes. Why? Because you already have existing players in the market. You know the best ones in the market, probably the iPhone or Samsung or whatever phone you talk about. So there are already the best phones in the market, and you know who is your competitor, what are the best features they have. Well, you can always procure the resources who have done the job. So you may always poach the people, like people who are working in iPhone or people who are working in Samsung, get the technology from them, get the people who have done it for them. And yes, you can tell them, well, this is what these guys are giving. I want better. So they're giving 64 megapixel. I need 128. They're giving 5 days of battery backup, and I need 15 days. Bottom line, you always have a reference point. Somebody has done it before. And well, you know how to do it pretty much because somebody has done it before. In the past, it's been done. You are doing it for the first time. That's the only difference here. And yes, you want a better version. So you're going to create it for the first time, but a better version of that. And you have an idea how to do it. Well, you can buy your competitor's product, dismantle it, study it. You know how it looks like, basically. But then you talk about true invention. This is right here. So we create a new product, which is new for the company and for the world. This is true invention. This was COVID vaccine. Nobody had done it before. Well, we had so many vaccines, but not COVID vaccine. Nobody had done it before. So when the first time, like it was like sort of, there was a need to make a vaccine. Well, everyone knew like what I want, but how to do it? Nobody had an idea. How long will it take? 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Who knows? Nobody has done it before. So, well, we are chasing an idea. We know what we want, but I don't know how to get there. Well, it is more about you can try and probably get lucky. And that's not what we can work with. We just can't count on luck. So we have to create and design and develop and get something out as soon as possible. So pretty much like there's a need to create a product within a certain time. So these guys had to heavily rely upon statistics to guide them. What's next? So what should be the next change? What should be the next change? So design of experiment is used in both the cases, whether you're dealing with DMADV or IDOV. The common statistical tool which will be used is DOE. Design of experiment is the statistics part. Whether it's a way to deal with it, this is where, and this is another way of dealing with. Both are DFSs, but having said that, the common tool is design. All I need to know is how design of experiment works, because that's statistics. There's nothing to do with your Six Sigma or for that anywhere. So people who have who do masters in like statistics and all, they by default go through design of experiment as a mode of study. So that's all a part of your syllabus also. They would study it in their masters or whatever the kind of graduation or like post-graduation they do. So design of experiments from coming from statistics, it guides you how to get there rather than you trying your luck and hit and try here. So let's see in a real world scenario, how would you be able to kind of like a relate this DOE? How does it work? How people work with it? Say, for example, I'm not an iPhone user, so I believe we have iPhone 15 and iPhone 16 is going to be launched. That's my best understanding. So when this iPhone 15 was launched, instantly the company would, like, and like here in talk about Apple, would actually go ahead and activate their like campaigns or market survey agencies will get activated. The paid agencies, their own customer service, their like the website through which customers will give a feedback. They will start capturing the voice of customer the moment a new product is launched, like in iPhone 15 when it was launched. Instantly, the company would have started for at least a month or so. They would try to capture the voice of customer because and for that, obviously, they have their paid agencies too and their own internal ones because the people who have bought this phone, how they're liking it, what features they like, what they not like, they would have this information collected from service centers, the complaints they have received, and all those things. Basically, all that information is captured. Now, what do they do with that information when you have voice of customer? All they want to understand things in like a sort of various buckets. First one, well, the features that the customer really liked. So they were like great features, which customer said, I loved it. Well, thank God I bought this phone. I'm really loving it. So the features and the developments that we've done in the phone, say in iPhone 15, which customers really loved, we want to maintain them. These are great features. Well, customers are liking it. Let's maintain them. When you go for iPhone 16, we should not lose them. They are great features. Then customers are loving it. Now there could be certain features customers would say, well, sorry, I was using the previous version. What's the difference here? Well, at least it was expecting these guys, like say it has, I don't know what's megapixel camera. So probably this has got a certain megapixel camera. You're still giving the same megapixel camera in case of iPhone 16, or probably the features have not upgraded. Do you have the feature? Yes. The feature is available. So it's not that feature is not. Feature is available, but customer expected a better version. So well, probably the camera is there, the battery backup is there, probably the screen size and all those. So feature is available, but there was a disappointment because there was no improvement done there. It was all status quo, same as before. So there is a dissatisfaction coming from the customer. Well, at least this time I was expecting, if I'm using iPhone 14 and iPhone 15, I don't think there is any difference. So there are certain features customers were expecting an improvement. So there is a feedback coming from the market that this did not work well for them. And then certain features which they're complaining, well, these were absent. I thought at least this time with a new rollout, probably you may integrate an AI integration, some sort of chat GPT. Something should have been there, something like innovative. Well, iPhone has lost its touch. Nothing new, well, same repeated stuff. You just keep add something here and there, and you're just giving it. So their customers are seriously disappointed that you do not have those features, which are absent ones. And the features which are present, probably they were expecting better one, but again, the one which you have, it's not a big deal. So primarily, the ones which we have definitely want to retain, which is good, but the ones where they have shown the dissatisfaction that they expected an upgrade or improvement here, and the features which are completely absent. So these features will be collected and all the feedbacks and complaints and errors that we're getting will be collected through various sources. And then finally, that information will be like a rational, like the concerned department will be the strategy team and all the leadership team will try to evaluate those feedbacks. So in iPhone 16, when they're going to launch iPhone 16, they are not going to improve or change everything. The intention is very clear that we will not solve all the customer problems. We're not going to solve each and every desire of the customer because there is never an end to a customer desire. I'm giving you 32 megapixel. I give you 64. You'll say, why don't you give me 128? It'll always be never-ending desire. So you can't just keep satisfying the customer needs because they will never end. You're running a business. You have to be logical enough. So, well, they would try to understand which features are the ones which are critical ones where you sort of getting a serious problem. And definitely we want to improve them. Otherwise, we will have a big problem. We might lose the market share. the features which are critical ones. And I would definitely want to invest in those recommendations coming from the market, the voice of customer, where those features which will help me become a market leader in the future. I do not want to invest my time and money and effort to develop a feature which is just a short-term benefit, which will just help me for a short period. But I might want to say invest in development where it could be something like artificial intelligence, which will probably be the future. So I don't want to work on a feature and upgrade and look into an upgradation which will probably die out. It will go out of fashion in a couple of years or so. So I do not have the objective is a long-term vision, not a short-term vision. So everything is not purposefully, like objective is clear that we are not going to improve everything. So the core element which is required for this is what we need to do is go back and understand what is the need of the customer, and accordingly we will be we'll try to do it. But again, there is a tool we use, and practically, unfortunately, this is something which is out of scope for us. But again, how they decide which feature, there is some tool what we call as Kano model. I have a recorded so we will not be able to, because it's all about doing the DOE. But if you're interested how they decide that which feature will be upgraded, which will not be, it's ideally not discussion based. It's exactly based on the customer feedback. So there is I can share this one. Have a look. So if you're interested, about 16-17 minutes long video. So one of my participants in previous some of the batches was from research and development, and he wanted this Kano model thing. So I created one. I recorded one video till date, like on YouTube, and just it's kept unlisted. That's the link of the YouTube video where this entire Excel sheet has been created. This is how the development is decided, which one will be improved. Well, you don't sit down as experts and decide, okay, let's see which one is more important. No, it's a customer feedback which will decide what will be the next rollout. I don't want to overrule the market sentiments. I do not want to do it. If we have to actually overrule the market sentiments, then why are you capturing the market survey? Why are you trying to go and take the feedback from the market when you 5 people, 10 people will sit down and discuss what's more important? Let customer decides what they want. I need to understand the market sentiments and not dictate those market sentiments. So practically, there is a way, which is how all the research and development and so all this improvisation that you see, the version 1, version 2, that keeps coming out. They use this Kano model. There is a way to conduct a survey, and this entire Excel sheet was created in that link. So from the scratch, I have done this. There is a formula which is used to generate some score based on the survey. Score is generated, and then I have created this on mini tab. There's a formula how you do, say first, what kind of questions you ask, what kind of assessment, what kind of score you get. Everything the entire sheet was created from scratch. It's roughly about 17-18 minutes long video in there. So you can check that out. It helps you to understand which feature will be prioritized right now, which one will not be prioritized, because customers can have unrealistic demand. I may have like 100 such features which are demanded. I can't satisfy 100 features, and I don't want to. So when you see change between one phone and another phone, there are not too many. But how you decide which one? Through this Kano model. It's quantitative analysis based on market sentiments and not discussion based. Absolutely data driven, and just very simple formula. But again, if you're interested, you do check that out. I've done it on Minitab, I've done it on Excel also. Same thing. And here is the link for the video. So I'll put this in the Google Drive. Have a look at it. If you want to play the video, have a look at Excel sheet, you will have a complete picture how this is decided at in terms of which feature is going to be developed. So Kano model is what is actually used. People generally, if you really talk to people, they talk about Kano model as a qualitative model, discussion-based model, which is not. Well, people actually Kano model is always has been a quantitative model, which is number-driven, which is market-driven, not discussion-based. Otherwise, it loses the importance. There's no point in doing a discussion yourself, and then practically, if you're going to do a discussion yourself and decide it, then why are you collecting the market survey? Why don't you sit down and decide what will you change in the next rollout? But practically, this is actually the way it's done. So check that out in case you're interested, how the features are decided, how they decide which feature will be upgraded, which will not be upgraded. And that's how pretty much the Kano model will come into picture. So whatever features are decided based on the leadership team, and they will run the Kano model. Once these features are decided, agreed upon, that's when we have a response. Basically, we In a regular project, we talk about business problem, we say output or why. That terminology will be called as response. The design of experiment has its own terminology. For good almost half an hour, we'll just be talking about terminology because this is more on the practical side, less on the like theory aspects. So while we do this, and you also in examination, I guess you get a couple of questions only from this topic, and they're very simple ones because it is actually hardcore practical stuff rather than theory. So there's not too many questions cannot be created from this. So they're very simple topics where you actually can be questions can be created. With the rest, everything has to be done practically. So you can't do any kind of questionnaire out there. So all in all, first of all, the terminology part we will be covering up. Then we'll start doing the experiments also. So the business problem we talk about or why or output, we no longer call it why business problem. We call it response. So this is given by the management, which is the features which the management has decided that these features will be upgraded in the next rollout. And that's the end of the management role here, because now it will be handed over to the subject matter experts. Now, will these people will not take anyone's advice. These people, it's a very close group. These guys will decide what is right, what is wrong, how do we need to deliver. Remember, this phone has to come out in a certain time because you have to design, develop, and then it will be manufactured. So you have very less time. And within that time, you have to develop this. So these guys are well versed with all these methods and technologies, or statistics part, they have to deal with it. So whatever development they've talked about, these people will take it up from there. So nobody will be consulted, nobody will be informed about it, and technically they don't need anyone's advice. These people have been doing the job for years, and they will be the one who will be taking it forward. Now, process remains the same. All these process experts or subject matter experts, people in research and development, they will be doing a fishbone diagram like a regular process. If this is my output, which is we call as response, what are the potential root causes? Now we call them potential root cause, we call them X, but no longer in DOE. We call them factors. So instead of Y and X, we have responses and factors. Now, who decide the factors? Experts. Fishbone diagram will be done. These guys will discuss about the possible potential factors which will impact the outcome, whatever the desired outcome is there. So this what they will sort of decide it. So factors are decided by the expert and not by anyone else. Now, once these factors are decided by experts, they will decide levels of the factor. Now, what are levels? Levels are the different settings at which experiments will be conducted. Let's see an example here. So we have a response which is decided by the expert, like by the management, that we want to design and develop a car which will give us high fuel efficiency. Like currently, say our cars are giving, say, 20 kilometers per liter as fuel efficiency mileage. Now we want to design and develop a car which will give us 25 kilometers per liter average. So the objective is decided by the management. Now the experts discussed internally and this is decided hypothetically. Like fuel type would be an impacting factor which will impact the fuel efficiency. The speed of the car will have an impact. The tire pressure will have an impact, and there can be more factors like that. So these factors are going to be decided only by the experts. They will not consult anyone. Now, once they've decided the factors, they will decide levels of these factors, and these are levels. They always decide on two levels, like lowest possible and highest possible. Like they believe, based on discussion, based on their education, their experience, they believe when you drive a car in between like 60, lowest 60 and highest point as 120, this is when you get the best mileage or best fuel efficiency. As per expert opinion, less than 60 is not good for mileage and more than 120 is not good for mileage. Well, you only set two levels. Can we set a low, medium, and high? The answer is yes. Nobody practices and will understand why. Nobody. It's not practiced as low, medium. We always set always two levels, the lowest extreme and the highest extreme. Well, this is based on the industrial experience of those experts. They will set the low and high level based on the current knowledge. Now, we decide about the fuel type. So we're going to try two different fuel. So some fuel type A and fuel type B. We'll try to see which fuel will give you the highest mileage. And similarly, we'll try to see what kind of tire pressure works. So as per the industrial experience, they believe when the tire pressure is 30 and 35, like or in between, this is where you get the maximum fuel efficiency. Less than 30 will be bad for mileage. More than 35 will be bad for mileage. So the levels are decided by the experts. So the factors are decided by experts. and experts decide the levels of those factors. So when the experimentation will be done, they will be done at these levels. So you will be conducting experiments at this level. Now, having said that, when we conduct experiment, we will not call them experiment, will not call them trials, we'll call them runs. So runs are that's what we call. So whenever the experiments will be done in research and development, people will call them runs. If you do 10 experiments, we'll say we have 10 runs. 15 experiments, 15 runs. So run is the language used for number of trials or number of experiments. So we'll try to kind of understand the predecessor of DOE. Design of experiment came in late. Before that, we had a concept called OFAT, one factor at a time. And actually, it will work the same logic, one factor at a time. What we do here is we change one of the factor setting to see how much of change is it making in the response. So let's see what is we talking about. We had the same condition. We've taken this one. So while we conduct an OFAT, the ground rule is that first run is always set at low level. When we say low level, what this means? I'll actually run a car in research and development with a 60 kilometers per hour speed, fuel type A, and with 30 tire pressure, and run it for like till the time one complete like the 1 liter fuel is consumed, and then I will see how much mileage is obtained with that. So first trial always is done on low levels, and then you record, and we found that 20 kilometers per liter was the mileage obtained, which is pretty good, and this becomes my baseline. Now what we do is, since we're doing an OFAT experiment, we change one of these factor settings and then compare it with the first run. So from low to high, and these are still low. So only one of the factor was changed from low to high. That's what OFAT stands for. Now we see, and now what are we running here? High of speed, which is 120 speed, and these are still low. So 120 speed, fuel type A, 30 tire pressure. One of the factor was changed. Now I see a jump in the mileage. What that tells me, the high speed is good for mileage. So instead of 60, you should be trying 120, because at 120, the moment I changed from the first one, we compare. The only thing which was changed was speed from 60 to 120. I saw a jump. That tells me 120 is the desirable speed if you want to get better mileage. Now what we do is we bring that back to low. Now it's the second factor we have to change. My reference line is the first one. So second time, now I'm changing the fuel type to high, and this is still low. So if I compare with this, middle one is getting changed. So I'm using this one, 60, fuel type B, and this one. So I'm using this combination, and I see that's a bad one because it's dropping from the, if I talk about the base one, which is 20. So I've gone low. So it tells me fuel type B is not good for the mileage. We should stick to fuel type A because that's good, because when you go to fuel type B, the mileage drops. So it tells me fuel type A should be used. Now it's turn for the last one, which you use low, and the high setting for the tire, which is 35. Now I see a big mileage jump, which is 28. It tells me high tire pressure is good. Oh, congratulations, you got your best combination. Now what you do is you run the first combination, all these best combinations. High of this, low of this, and high of this. That was my best experimented run, and we found this was the best one. And we got a very weird result, 17. Well, we were expecting some miracle to happen like 30, 35, probably 40, because we had the best combination. Well, we thought that it could be some sort of a manual mistake or something. We rerun the trial once again. It cannot be a mistake. It's happening. It's happening real time. It's not a one-time error. It's happening consistently. Such a shame. Honestly, why? Because these experts were the one who decided the factors. These experts decided the levels. These experts conducted the experiments. They got the results, and they are using the best combination, and they're getting a result which they can't explain. Nobody had an answer why it's happening. Such things with various other experiments, they happened. And people saw that this kind of issues happened, and nobody had an answer why. Because I was expecting a miracle to happen here right now, a really good one. Like nobody had an answer. So people realized that there's something missing in this experiment, which is happening, but we are not able to understand it. So they realized there's something more scientific has to come into picture, which can help us figure out and come up with a better version. That's when the concept of DOE came into picture. So DOE will leave no stone unturned. If I see a result, I know exactly why it came. So pretty much every single bit is explained in DOE. So you'll have no mystery left over when you conduct an experiment, why such an experiment result came. So you can always control your result the way you want. So it's more of a, like you have solved a mystery. And now you are able to control your output based on your desires. You keep changing the various values and you keep seeing the change in the result. You can always manipulate the way you want. That's what DOE gives you as a power. So let's see what is, so we'll still not be like we'll still have to go through some bit of more terminology before we actually pick up the testing part. Coming to DOE. First thing first, the purpose of DOE has to be clear. The purpose was very clear that there's a lot of cost issue, which is globally, there's a cost constraint. Everyone is like, every corporate is sort of trying to do cost reduction. That's what the primary target is. And time is a big factor. So sooner the better, lesser cost the better. So the core purpose of DOE was to do as less as experiment as you can, as less as possible, and still deliver the result. Whatever the management has asked for, deliver the result with lowest possible experiment and lowest possible time. We don't want to try this like Thomas Alva Edison. He tried 568 times to invent a bulb. Every time when you conduct an experiment, you create a lot of waste. A failed experiment will be a lot of waste, a lot of time, money, effort is wasted. A lot of junk is created after every experiment. This 568 times, he would have wasted so much of money, so much of time, and he would have created so much of waste bulbs. That's what it is. But yes, you learn one more new method, how the required output cannot be created. So he learned 568 unique ways how the bulb cannot be invented. And finally, on 569th attempt, he got lucky. So congratulations, you have a bulb. So you invented the bulb and practically got very popular with that. But we don't have that kind of time frame to kind of keep trying. And that was just being lucky. You don't want to be lucky here. Well, you want to do it in lesser time and just deliver the job. And that's why we will be working on DOE. And that's what it will do. Less time, less effort, and still what you want, you will have your results. So some more concepts, still the terminologies. We'll talk about, like I said, we have to clean a hand, and I'm trying to measure the time it takes to clean my hand. My hands are dirty, greasy, oily. And the factor chosen is water and soap. Basically, so these are factors, and we have chosen the level of the factor. So the level of the factor is low and high, 2 levels. So we'll try the water at cold water and hot water. We'll try soap without soap and with soap. So there are 2 levels of each factor. Now, if I look at it, I can try 4 different combinations. If I actually look at the 4 combinations possible in this one, I can try the cold water without soap, cold water with soap, hot water without soap, hot water with soap, 4 combinations. So I try to run these trials, or runs. So run 1, when I did cold water with no soap. And cold water is very bad for cleaning the hand, and specifically when it's dirty, oily, greasy. It was a nightmare. It took about 20 minutes to clean my hand. I was still not satisfied. But just for the sake of completing experiment, I say, okay, well done, 20 minutes done. Next time I was using cold water, but now I was using soap. And soap, we all know, has a good effect on the cleaning part of it. And we just took 5 minutes to clean the hand. Well, congratulations, you had a soap here. And this is what we call as main effect. Main effect of which factor? The soap. The factor soap made this possible. The change in the result happened as a result of the factor himself. Which factor? The soap. So this is called main effect. When the factor impacts the result, that's called main effect. Third experiment when we conducted was hot water without soap. So you don't have a soap, but you're just using hot water. And that took more than obviously the soap. But again, hot water also cuts you grease and dirt pretty quickly. And much better the cold one, definitely. And then I saw that, okay, that's what I call as main effect of water, and technically the hot water, which helped me get this result. But when I use hot water with the soap, and that was magical, about 2 minutes. This is called interaction effect of water and soap. And that's what was missing here. That was missing here. Whenever we talk about the result, we will always consider the impact of water will impact of soap. Because that's what you're looking at. We were conducting experiment here. What were our factors? Speed of the car, fuel type, height. That's what you were studying. Main effects. You're trying to study the impact of speed, study the impact of fuel, and is it all? Are these only 3 factors which are impacting the results? The answer is no. Here, do you think there is only water and soap? There are 2 factors which are impacting the cleaning tile? The answer is no. Why? Because there are more chemical reactions happening in the back end, and the new variables are getting created. And here, if I talk about, we had a water variable, we had a soap variable, and the third variable is water plus soap These two combine and they create an interaction effect. This is the third variable, which is unexplained and hidden variable. And in most of the cases, actually, this interaction will be a very, very strong factor, very strong variable, which will change. And in certain cases, it will be more powerful than the main effect. The main effect would have some impact, but when you talk about the combination, this combination will have an even bigger impact on the result more than the main effect themselves. These are very, very strong. And this is nothing other than correlation. This is correlation happening between the factors. These factors are correlated. So A, water is having an impact, soap is having an impact, and the water and soap, when they combine, that is also having an impact. And sometimes this could be the strongest variable there. And the whole thing was missing for this. Well, when we talk about the speed, this one, it was also correlation. This was main effect, main effect, main effect. But is it all? The answer is no. Speed is interacting with fuel and creating one more variable. Fuel type is interacting with tire pressure is interacting with speed, and then all are interacting with each other. There is so much of chemical reaction happening. And all in all, these also have an impact. So some of these could have a strong negative correlation. It's quite possible there could be a strong negative correlation, and that could have brought this result significantly down. What happens is in case of negative correlation, when if you input, we talk about input factor comes in, the output goes down. There was a strong possibly speed might have canceled the impact of fuel, or fuel might have canceled the impact of tire, or tire might have canceled something would have gone negatively impacted. And yes, this correlation might have turned negatively. And yes, you might have seen a result. And here we don't see that. Why? Because we're only studying the main effect. When you do a design of experiment, it's like an equation right in front of you. This result, why? If you get a result, say 100, what is the breakup of this 100? You get to see, okay, 30 from this, 30, 40 from this, and another 30 from this. You get to see exactly clearly what is happening. So it will give you absolute clarity why something happened. And why? Because the hidden factor, which was the very, very important like a part of the result, which was not explained by OPAC. When we generally, we will always study, like go and study the main effects only. But what is happening in the back end is much more powerful in most of the cases. Like I'll tell you very, very simple, like generic one, because you all have at least people who have gone into kitchen and who would have tried to cook something. You all have done experiment DOE already. Well, I say if I try to go and make I'm trying to cook something, and there are I get in 2 or 3 different kind of vegetables and trying to mix some vegetables and cook something. So my response is the taste of the vegetable. So every vegetable that I will put into that will have an impact. That is the main effect. So every vegetable that I put in will have an impact on the taste. That's main effect. I will add salt, and salt will also have an impact on the taste. I'll probably add spices. They will also have an impact on the taste. Well, we'll have oil put in there. That will also have an impact on the taste. So these are the main effect. But is it all? The answer is no. Each vegetable is interacting with another vegetable. Vegetable is interacting with salt, and salt is interacting with oil, and oil is interacting with spices. Everything is interacting with everything. These interactions are playing a very big role on your taste. So is everything impacting your result? Yes. Are these interaction impacting the result? The answer is yes. So we need to understand what are those interactions which are not studied. Without knowing them, you are only looking at one face of one side of the coin, another side you don't know. That unexplained part is missing. So and at times, because of this interaction, the taste of the food could become unbelievably good. Or at times, this interaction could spoil the taste, and it will become a really, really horrible thing that you might end up cooking. So these interactions play a very, very significant role. And yes, we have to study all of it. All in all, for you to get a complete picture and to be able to control the result, you need to know why I got this result, and that simple breakup of all that results. So we will be now, most likely in about a couple of more minutes, we'll be conducting the first experiment. How we conduct experiment, we got to keep in mind the full factorial design. This is the base of your design of experiment. Every DOE, the foundation is about full factorial. So full factorial design works with the formula called L to the power n. What is this formula for? To decide the number of experiments to be done. So if you have to conduct experiment, how many? That number will be decided by L to the power n. L stands for level of the factors, which we always take 2 level, low level, high level. We'll see why we don't take low, medium, high, because we can always use low, medium, high, but logically does not make sense. We'll understand in a moment why. but levels will always be 2, low and high. So levels are the L for the levels and for the number of factors. So if you have a question, if you get a question that we're doing a full factorial experiment and we're conducting an experiment with say 2 levels and 2 factors, how many runs or trials will be required? So I know 2 levels, 2 factors, 2 to the L is 2, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 2 would be 4. So I will have 4 different combinations and see 2 factors, 2 levels each. We had 4 combinations created. If you've got 2 levels and 5 factors, I'll do 2, L is 2, 2 to the power 5, which is 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So if you do this combination, you will get to know there are 32 unique experiments will be required. If you have 5 factors in total and each factor has 2 levels, there will be 32 unique combinations created. And you have to run all 32 combinations to get the result and then analyze which one is the best one. If you got 2 levels and 8 factors and each with 2 levels, low and high, you will do 2 to the power 8, which is going to be 256 unique experiments which will be required to study those 8 factors. The 2 levels and 15 factors, that's going to take about 768. Well, where is that concept of DOE gone? Because it says conduct less experiment. Is this less experiment? Trust. Your management will not give you approval to run 256 experiments. To run 256 experiments, you might end up finishing one complete year. You don't have time and bandwidth and money to run these many experiments. Well, forget about this one. If you're doing a fishbone diagram, you might easily come up with 30 factors, 40 factors. That number will not even fit in Excel. Well, so that defeats my purpose of. So we actually don't do these many experiments. We'll understand how to minimize the experiments. Well, just to kind of give you enough sort of information, like we'll be covering that up. We can test 47 factors in one attempt, 47 maximum with just 48 experiments. That's it. So we'll learn about that. But all in all, you have to understand the foundation, the basics, because that is about changing the experiment to a different version. So we'll talk about that. But again, conceptually, this is what it is. So if I have got number of factors, each factor, each factor has 2 levels, I will be using L to the power n as a formula to decide how many runs will be required to conduct that experiment. And that is where we say why 3 factors are not allowed, 3 levels. Same experiment when we're doing 5 factors, each with 2 levels. If you make it 3 level, like low, medium, and high for each factor, if you do this experiment while you're doing 32, you'll be required L to the power n. L is 3 to the power 5. 243 experiments, just including a medium level. You look at this, the number of experiments, how it increases. While you don't get an approval to run 256 experiments, if you've got 8 factors, each with 3 levels, your 3 to the power 8 will become 6,561 experiments. And that is the primary reason. For logical, commercial reasons, that it doesn't make sense. Why would you waste time and money when I can get, like I said, you can test 47 factors with 48 experiments? Why would you waste so much of money? So logically, there's no point in doing a 3 level because it's illogical and it's waste of money. I can get the job done sooner, quicker, and this is sheer waste of money. So nobody does that. So that is the logical reason why we don't do 3 level. And honestly, even 2 level is also like this number of experiment cannot be managed. But we will have to first understand this is the foundation. Like you remember the control chart. Individual chart was the foundation. If you understand individual chart, everything is the same. Same goes for full factorial also. If you understand how the design of experiment works, you just have to study full factorial. Everything will just fall in place. So with that being said, let's try with the first experimentation. Let's try to understand how it works and all that stuff. Well, so that we will be able to understand it. It's more on, I said, more on the practical side. We'll have some bit of more theory to be covered also. It's not done. We'll have some more theory covered because that is the topics will come as a right. So I'll go ahead and conduct this DOE experiment to show you how it's done first. That DOE factorial, create factorial design. I click on this. Look at this, 2 levels, 2 levels, 2 levels. It's always 2 levels. Having said that, if we was talking about 47 factors one, look at this, 2 levels, 47. If I do this one, black and blue, we'll do this also. This experiment, if I have 47 factors, I'll require just 48 runs. Just 48. So why waste that money? I can get the job done for 47 factors. You want to try this experiment, if you do a full factorial with the 47 factors, that number will not even fit in. If I do 2 to the power 47, look at this. 2 to the power 47. I have never tried. I'm doing it for the first time. Look at this number. This, you know how much number is this? What number we talking about? Can anyone read this number for me? It's 1.40737E plus 14. What does it mean? Anyone knows how to read these numbers, exponential numbers? Anyone? It is actually 1.40737 multiplied by 14 means 1 followed by 14 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do the math. Look at the number of experiments. You can't just do that. So logically, we don't do this much. But fortunately, for now, we will just be focusing on full factorial right now, whatever we got here. Well, L to the power n. So we'll see. So we got. Let's go back and quickly see this a small example to understand how we will do. So we're trying to go and bake a cake, and my response is what I want to bake. The taste of the cake should be good. So we have professional tasters, and this is how the industry, specifically the recipes are perfected over a period of time and all that. It's done. So all in all, whenever you talk about this, is done. Like wherever people do go ahead and implement this DOE, a lot of such industries have actually gone ahead and done all this job already of perfecting things with the DOE part. So here, say we have my response is going to be rated and collected over a scale of 1 to 10. 1 rating given by the experts is worst rating, and then 7 is the best one. So we got taken like 3 factors: flour, butter, and egg. We got 3 different factors, and expert decided that low level, high level, low level, high level. So like they'll say, well, we'll try to bake a cake with 100 grams or 150 grams, 25 grams butter, 50 grams butter, 3 eggs and 5 eggs, whatever, low and high levels as per their understanding. Now, I can do this by plugging in this number. So we got 3 factors, each with 2 levels. So 2 to the power 3 is 8 experiments. So if I go and click design, look at this. It says full factorial 8 experiment, 2 to the power 3, full factorial 8 experiments. Well, there is a choice to reduce experiments. So we'll see how to reduce experiment. That's when we'll talk about these elements. So let's park it for now. Right now, we're just concerned about full only. We'll see all that part also. This section is very important, but right now we'll keep it default. We'll discuss this when the time comes in. We'll make changes with this to understand what is it all about. So right now, again, leaving it as default, by default. Let's go ahead. So we have selected full factorial. I click OK. In the factors, I can write down flour. I can put the values here. I can put this like 100 grams and say 150 grams. I can do this butter, say 25 grams, 50 grams, and egg, say 3 eggs and 5 eggs. I can put that way. I can click OK. And now let's see what it has created for us. It has created the design of experiment we're talking about. So this first 4 columns are related to design. Remember, I was talking about this element, this one, this section, the default one. This section is related with this first 4 columns. So we'll discuss, when we discuss this first 4 columns, pretty much that when we'll cover this element. That's the element linked with this. We'll talk about it later. My actual design is not here. My actual design is the one. Basically, but we'll cover these elements. This is the experimentation, this part. Flour, butter, and egg. So actually, I will be required to bake a cake with the flour, 100 grams, 50 grams of butter, and 5 eggs. And I'll get the cake tasted by a lot of professional tasters and take an average rating. Similarly, we'll bake this cake with this kind of setting, and then we'll take. So it will be, those experiments will be done. It's a time-consuming, very tedious activity. So, well, I have done one thing. I have, and by the way, Minita by default codes them as -1 +1. So what we can do is we have coded this flour, butter, and egg as ABC. We know what is ABC, flour, butter, and egg. And these low settings are referred as coded by Minita as -1, -1. That means A -1 means flour -1, which is 100 grams. A +1 means 150. So -1 +1 represents the low and high setting of the factor. So we have conducted these experiments with the same combination created here. So we actually conduct, and the rule says, when you conduct this experiment, we'll get some result. The average taste given by all the professional tasters You will not change anything. You'll rerun the same experiment once again without any break. You do the first cake, get it tested. They do the second cake without changing experimental condition. You rerun the same experiment without changing experimental condition. Rerun. Ground rule says that bare minimum you should do 3. Bare minimum 3 repetition has to be done. Otherwise, it's waste of time. If your budget allows and time allows, you should do 5. 5 is recommended. Minimum will be 3. So bare minimum, you have to do it 3 times without changing anything. Without changing any setup, you rerun the same thing, one back to back, one after another. So we have done it 5 times, probably we had time. And then we have taken average of all these ratings, which is average rating. Now, let's try to see how to show, basically, how to analyze this test results. So we conducted, say my team has gone ahead and conducted these experiments. They've tried to bake the egg and whatever, this cake, and we got the results. Since I'm copying this data from outside, Minita will give me error, which we will be able to handle. So I'll go to Stat, DOE, factorial. I want to analyze this because we have conducted our experiments as it was given to us. We have actually run all those trials, and we want to see which is the best combination to bake this egg. So, well, like this cake. So I click on this Analyze Factorial Design. I click on this and it gives me error. Why? Because I'm copying data from outside. It says, do you want Minitab to analyze this design? Yes, why not? Factors, which is factors A, B, and C. These are my 3 factors we're dealing with. I click on low and high. It'll pick up all automatically -1, +1 from the data. I click OK, and I click OK. In the response section, we have taken average of all these ratings. We have taken average. Now let's see if I click on terms. If I click on terms, it is what is it doing? It will study the result, impact on the result because of main effect A, main effect B, main effect C. Then interaction happening between A and B, interaction happening between A and C, interaction happening between B and C, and interaction between all of them. The thumb rule is that either the main effect is responsible or is capable to change the result, or the interaction of 2 factors can change the result. More than 2 level interaction, which is 3 level, 4 level, 5 level, that is not significant. So we always go to this drop down button and say we only want to see up to 2 level, not 3 level. We want to see either the main effect and the 2 level. So maximum up to 2 level, remove. So this is all what is impacting. Any result which will change will either because of main or 2-factor interaction, not 3 factors. We always go to click OK and OK. I would definitely, so here your p-value and everything, ANOVA, testing, regression will come into picture. Help me understand, if you recall, A, main effect, AB interaction, AC interaction, BC interaction. Look at the p-value. Can you tell me, is there any alternate hypothesis here? Null says there is no relation, alternate says there is a relation. Any p-value which is alternate, where you can say there is a significant relationship. Null says no, alternate says yes. All are null, right? Now, on the contrary, like if you recall, we also discussed about regression. When you talk about regression, you remember we discussed about R square. We discussed about R square. What is R square, if you recall the discussion? What did R square in regression was explaining? When we were doing regression, what was the impact of what when we say R square, what does it tell us? Okay. So when we look at, if you recall the regression conversation we had, it tells you the impact of that variable, how fat, the coefficient, so the strong, how strong, yeah, determination of any variation. So how strong is the variable? And these are two, like when you talk about a single variable, if I do 1x with 1y, you look at R square. So whenever you are doing those analysis, you look at R square because it's 1x with 1y. That's what you do it. But when you're doing a multiple factors together, you look at R square adjusted. This is combined effect of all factors. For single variable, you see R square. For multiple variables together, you look at R square. Overall, collective impact of main effect, interaction, the complete factor. How much of impact does it make? It is saying 95.73% of your result is in your control. 95.73% of your result. But is it not contradictory? This is like very high level of control on your result. On the contrary, this is all null. Why? Because there's a lot of junk factors. You have to clean the data. It is really good actually. This R squared just tells me there is a huge, it's like a successful experiment you've done. This is higher the better. R squared just higher the better. So I will see, because it gives me confidence that it's great. I have to just clean up the mess. There's a lot of mess in this data. And like the same ANOVA, same p values here. It gives me regression equation. I don't want to see this. I don't want to hit and try. Not my job. I will look at this Pareto chart. This is a Pareto chart for DOE. Now, there is a line, and I want you to understand what this line stands for. This line is called length, L-E-N-T-H, L-E-N-T-H, length actually, length p-value. Length p-value is meant for only this design of experiment. The rule and what is the role of this length p-value is that if any line, any bar, this bar, if it crosses the line, say I'm just randomly sketching one, this is one bar, this is second bar, and let's say this is third bar, which is not crossing it. If this is the bigger bar, well, this p-value will be less than 0.05, it will be alternate, 100%. If this is crossing line, it will be less than 0.05, alternate, 100%. This will be a bigger root cause, this will be a small root cause. Why this bar is bigger, this bar is smaller. This will be 100% a null factor, and this will definitely be a more than 0.05. So the rule says if a line crosses, any bar will cross line, it will be alternate, it will be significant root cause, and bigger the line, bigger the impact. If does not cross, it's not impacting. Well, in this case, I see there's nothing is crossing this line because there are a lot of junk factors in this. So all I have to do is start with removing the factors which are not required in this experiment. So I will first stop removing the factors which are like the ones which are interactions, which are not significant for us. So I'll go with the lowest one, which is AB. AB is not significant. We're like lowest one. I'll go and remove AB from this study. I click on this button, or I say edit last dialog box, or I do a control E, click on OK, and I go to terms, and I hear there's an option of AB I have to remove. I select AB, and I throw it back. This is back. I'll send it back. I have removed AB interaction from my study, and let's see. Did anything turned alternate here? P factor turned alternate, yes. And how about the interactions? Is there any interaction which is significant? Yeah, B, C became interaction was significant here. And look at this R squared, which is 96.06%. It got a little better. Let's go down. Now I see the highest impact on the taste is actually the interaction. It's not the main effect. The maximum impact on the result is because of interaction between B and C, butter and egg. B was butter, C was egg. So butter and egg interaction has playing the maximum role in the taste. And then the egg is the second highest. So I will now remove AC interaction, which is not significant. So I'll go back and remove AC, the lowest interaction, which is not significant. AC, I throw it back, I click OK, and I click OK. Let's see, does it change anything else? I guess no, nothing else. Let's go back, let's go down, let's go down. Now, quick question for everyone. B, now I'm done with interaction. This is the most significant. I can't remove it. So we're done removing all interactions which were not significant. Now it's time to remove the main effect which are not significant. Can I remove B? Can I remove B? That's the only question I want to ask. No. Why is that? Why can't I remove B? The answer is correct, by the way. It has required for, yes, you're right. It is required for interaction because you're using, see, B itself is not significant. B itself is the null factor. But when it combines with C, it becomes the strongest variable. So itself, it's a null. But when it gets into interaction with C, it becomes the most significant factor. So, well, I need this for interaction. Itself, it does not have a role. Alone, it does not have a role, but when it comes in interaction, it becomes powerful. Can I remove A? Yes, I can remove A. A has no role to play, whether A was the flour. So whether you use 100 grams or you use 150, does not matter. So it's like, they're all required for making a cake. It's not that we will not use flour. a flour will be there in the cake, but it's like says you whether use 100 grams or 150 grams, it absolutely has no meaning to it. Well, it doesn't use whatever you want, it does not matter. So 100 grams, 150 grams will not make a difference. So I'll remove A. So it does not have an impact on the taste as such. So you use 100, 150, does not matter. We finally reach to a point where we have got all the 6. So I see B is itself a null factor, but when it comes in interaction, it's a significant one, and C is significant. So you got a result. Now at this stage, do I know how many eggs? Because C was egg, and what like a B was butter. What quantity butter? No, I don't know. I have no idea whether like I should be using 5 egg or 3 egg. It doesn't tell me. It tells me highest significant factor. So I want Minitab to tell me what needs to be done here to maximize results. So I will go at this stage, I'll go to start, DOE, factorial. I go down till response optimizer. You tell me what do I do? I want to increase the result. So what should I be doing here? So I click on response optimizer. It's going to ask you, what do you want to achieve here? Do you want to increase your result, decrease your result, maintain it? I want to increase it, maximize. My objective is to maximize the ratings here. That's it. What it will do is it's going to tell you what is supposed to be used here. It tells you the highest, what you have been using here so far. You've been using low and high. It says go and use low setting of B, which is 25 grams of butter, and high setting of C, which is 5 eggs. So the 25 grams butter, 5 eggs. This will give you the maximum rating here of 5.6. And if you further want to increase it further, well, try with other factors also. You have fresh bake, fresh fruits, your dry fruits, or some other cream you can try. People have perfected things like that. Once you get to know how to do it. So bottom line, it tells you what to do, and it tells you the result, what you will be getting here. So you can try, and then you see that this result will be absolutely the correct one. Like right now, I don't have a way to go and bake a cake and tell you whether you're getting this rating or not. But yes, I'll have something where I can show and verify that results that we're getting are actually the correct one. It will happen, and I can show you something exactly the same way. You will be able to see, at least verify there. There is another data for this full factorial one, which we can use here. So I'm going to open up a portal website here. This is the website called Sigma Zone. We'll repeat it. It's 100% repetition, but here at least I can verify and show it to you that results will happen. Exactly what it tells. Sigmazone.com. That's a simulator here. I go to products, and the bottom it says online tool, virtual calculus. I'll pick this up. And this is some sort of game that we play, but again, it is good enough for us to kind of figure out how to do this. So I'm going to pick up being linear. So objective here is to throw this ball. A target has been decided by management of 250. So I need to make sure the ball lands on 250. So I have this, the target has been decided. And there are a lot of factors, because when I throw the ball, there will be an impact of this, something called pin elevation. Where are you going to keep this? Will this have an impact where the ball lands? Yes. Well, there is this factor also something, and there's something called bungee position. This is also one more factor. Where should I keep it? That will also have an impact. This one has an impact. Where should I keep it? Where should I keep it? Where should I release it? Here, 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 here. Where should I release? Everything has all these factors have an impact, and you need to find the right combination where what should be the position of each factor so the ball exactly lands on 250. I don't know. So I need some statistics tool to guide me what should be the position of these to get you to 50. So I don't know. I've decided target, and you can try to run those experiments and then tell me how it needs to be done. So we have done the similar way. We have gone ahead and run these trials. Look at this. The trials were set at, like, we have taken the low and high setting, low and high setting, low and high setting, like wide range, low and high setting. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. But again, based on understanding, you can take anything, whatever you feel as low and high, because it's going to give you something else. Don't worry about that. So you don't get low and high only. So whatever you know, low and high, as per your understanding, you can keep that low and high. And now conduct those experiments. So we've conducted those experiments, and we've done it 3 times. So we run these trials like 3 times. We got a result. We got this result. We again rerun. We again rerun. Do you see a variation? Yes. There's a small bit of variation always there. Small. Although setting was same, but you get a different result. It's slightly different, but you always get some result difference. Why? Because there are something called noise factor, which are present always. They will always be changing results slightly here and there. And that's why we rerun this experiment to understand how much a plus minus can happen. And that's why we take average. So we always do this activity at least minimum 3 to gauge if there is a variation which is significant difference or less significant. So here you see that it's very, very negligible. So we end up taking an average. But variation will always be there. And that's why we always run at least 3 to 5 trials to see how much of variation exists between them, because you're not changing anything. Nothing is changed. Same trial, same trial, same trial, you see something different always. So we capture this. We have done the experimentation. And now we will be running this experiment and see here, at least we will be able to verify. I'm going to paste this, follow the drill like we did for the previous example. It will give me error, which is fine. We will be able to handle this one. Start DOE factorial, analyze the factorial design. It will give me error, which is fine. I'll click yes. What's your factors? We have factors called pin elevation, bungee position, release angle, 3 factors. Low and high, it has picked up from my data, these values. I click OK and OK. Like there is average distance, we'll pick up the average distance, the overall. And I want to see up to 2 levels only. So I'll go to drop down, pick up only 2 levels and main effect. That's it, we're done. Have a look at it. Can you tell me, is there a significant factor or there's something else? Is there a significant impact on the result? Is there p-values, 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 p-values? Look at this. Are these null or alternate? Null says no relation, alternate says there is a relation. They all alternate. There is all p-values are less than 0.05. There all factors are significant. Pin elevation has an impact. Bungee position has an impact. Release angle has an impact. Interaction between this and this has an impact. Interaction between this and this has an impact. Interaction between everything is impacting. These all are significant root causes. And their interactions are also significant. Your result is in your control. How much? 99.79% of your result is in your control. What else you can ask? This is absolutely incredible control over your result. Well, you can manipulate the result the way you want. If this level of control you have achieved, let's see, we will be able to verify that. And here it tells you highest impact is because of release angle. Second is the pin elevation. So much. I don't know. Well, will you tell me what needs to be done? So I go to this DOE factorial and I go to response optimize, same thing. Here, my goal is not to throw it too far, but I want to hit a target of 250. I couldn't say 250 here. And here I know there's some bit of noise factor always there. So I'll put a LSL, USL just to safeguard. Basically, I want the system to keep in mind while it gives me the predicted settings I should use. I want it to keep in mind that I should keep it like the ball should not go because of noise factor, should not go outside these boundaries. So I'm just going to give LSL, USL, some bit of whatever plus minus, and I click OK. I click OK. Now, let's see what it has to say. What it tells you that all the experiments, look at the experimentation here. All experiments were done at like 120, 180, 130, 200, 140, 180. These are the combinations we used. All experiments were used at this. Look at this, what it tells you. You have been using the settings, which is pin elevation 120 and 180. Use this one. Nobody gave you this setting, right? You never tried this experiment. This is coming out of nowhere. You've been using 130 and 200. It says use this. You've been using 140 and that 180. Use this. And tells you if you use this, you get. Let's try. You want to try and check this out? Well, these settings were never explored. Well, who? Well, first of all, I would like to challenge the norm. Well, somebody says this is low is best, high is best. How did you, as an expert, you also would have tried, tested. That's how you know this is the best setting. But what is the guarantee that you know today is the best one? Probably you have never seen the best one. Probably the best is still yet to be explored. You're saying that whatever cars we're driving, it gives you 20 kilometers per liter mileage. This is based on your current knowledge. Well, can you say with 100% conviction that you have explored everything? No. Probably the best has never been seen. Probably the same car can give you 50 kilometers per liter mileage, but you have no idea how to do that. These will give you those settings which are unexplained, unexplored, because we have never tried. We don't know. And that's what, let's try them out. In Minitab, like I've got this decimal machine, you can set it up. but I'll just go with 149. I can't put 105. Pin elevation, I guess that's pin elevation. 149. Let's see. So I'm not using, please keep this in mind, I'm not using an exact one because I can't use 0.105, 149. I can't put 105 here. This is 164.00, whatever bungee position. I'll keep 164. And then it says release angle 155.92. I'll make it 156. Let's see where does it land. 156. Now, we're ready to leave. I had never given this setting, never tried this setting. It will help you figure out the things which have never been seen. You decide the target, it'll tell you that how to get it. All you need is a target, and whatever you know, low setting, high setting, doesn't care, because look at this. Were these settings given by you? No, you never gave this setting. It just, you are able to go and verify. So whatever low and high you give, you conduct your experiment with that data being collected. It is going to analyze it and tell you what you should be using. Job done. So results can be obtained. It guides you how to get, rather than like you use what you know and let it do its job and telling you what needs to be done. I hope you're able to. So there, I was not able to bake the cake. At least I'm able to show you what needs to be done. You get exactly what you want. Like not like some. Remember, it's not exactly on 250, but it's some bit of noise factor will always. You rerun, it'll be again some bit of plus minus, but it is going to be there. Please keep this in mind. These settings were never, ever, even once tried. Never. I hope it's making sense. Like basically, this is what DOE does. Helps you create solutions. You come up with a problem, you come up with a target, and you have your factors discussed, conduct those experiments, and design a solution for yourself. It tells you how to get over the problem. It is on the practical side. I said, like, there are a lot of things which there are very limited elements which we go through the practice test of this DOE, you'll see that's nothing. It's so there are concepts are very limited here where you can frame questions. This is all in the practice. See, this is from a DOE perspective, it gets way, way too complicated in the master black belt. So here, because it's in a black belt perspective, it's just the beginning of like probably we can say the introduction part of DOE, because it gets much, much more complex. It's a very vast topic. But again, that's a part of master. Again, this is what I will be covering some more. But we have like this one is it's still on the lighter side. If it's okay and clear, we are almost there to take a break, really, because when we come back from the break, we'll be getting to the difficult part, which I was talking about. So, but again, for that, we need to have the DOE foundation clear, which is how the entire story, basically how it worked out. You decided some levels, you conducted some experiments, you got some results, you analyzed, and then it gives you the result, what you should be using. So full factorial can help you get those settings, which can be. Anyone has any questions, can pitch in. If it's okay, we can take a break. We will resume in the next 30 minutes from now. And then we'll talk about the part where we start reducing the experiment. We will not have the budget. Honestly, we will not have the budget, we will not have the time to go and conduct so many runs or also so many experiments. So we look for a lesser experiment design, and that's when we switch to something called fractional factorial design. Well, big question is, do we perform the full factorial? The answer is yes. But it is not my first experiment, it will be my last experiment to be done. So we will never start with the full factorial, because logically, we will not be like whenever you do a fishbone diagram, you are expected to get a lot of factors. So you cannot fit in those many experiments here, given the commercial reasons. You can't, and logically also, it does not make sense. So you will actually be starting your experimentation journey with fractional factorial design. So we'll try to understand what is it all about, this fractional factorial design. What do we do in this? And this is all about reducing the number of experiments, being commercially viable. So just taking an example of it, like if you've got 8 factors, each with 2 levels. If I go ahead with full factorial, then I have a formula of L to the power n, which is 2 levels and 8 factors. 2 to the power 8 will give me 256 trials, which I have to do. Well, Here I'm doing all possible 256 experiments, and I will get the complete information about my the design, whatever I'm going to do drop here. I'll get complete information. I can get the results, but that's too much of experiments. Well, 256 is like a lot of money, a lot of time will be invested. And I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of time to invest. So I can change my design and change my design to a half fraction design. And the formula for that is L to the power n minus 1. Now, when I say L to the power n minus 1, I will be using L is 2, 2 to the power n is 8, 8 minus 1 is 7. So 2 to the power 7 will give me 128 experiment. With this 128 experiment, I will still be testing 2 levels and 8 factors. This design will create, this is a design which will create just 128 experiments. It's a different design which will create only 128 experiments for 2 levels and 8 factors. But since we try to be a little smart here, we try to save some time and money, you lost some information because you did not do all experiments. So you lost some information. There's always a trade-off. There's always a price you have to pay. You're trying to get smarter. You're not doing all experiments, which is fine, but you will be losing some information. You will not be able to kind of get complete information because you're not doing all. Now, if you go ahead and like say, if I say 128 is still too high, I don't have that kind of money, so I can change this design to 1/4 fraction when I do L to the power n minus 2, and that's n is 8, 8 minus 2 is 6. So 2 to the power 6 gives me 64 experiments. So the 64 experiments will be based on this 1/4 fraction design. I will lose some more information because I'm doing even lesser experiments. It's always a trade-off. So yes, you want to do less experiments, which is good. But as you do less experiments, you get less information. Well, if you don't have money to run 64, well, then you go for 1/8 fraction, which is L to the power n minus 3, which is 8 minus 3 is going to be your 32 experiments. And then you lost even more information. Or for that matter, 1/16th, you'll be L to 8 minus 4 will be 4. So 2 to the power 4 is 16. And that means you lost even more information. So one thing we have seen that the only scenario where you're doing all full experiments is the first one, where you're getting complete information. Well, because you're doing all experiments. But the moment you start playing with this data and you try to go and do minimum experimentation, less experimentation, you keep losing information. The lesser you do, the more information you lose. There is always a trade-off. There's always a, like this, everything comes with a price tag. So whenever you do a less experiment, there is a big loss of information, which we'll have to deal with. Now, what, but I do definitely want to save money. So that is, any which is not debatable. We will definitely be going for less experiment, which means that I have to compromise with the information. I will be losing information and I should be okay with that. But I'm absolutely okay to leave information which is not useful and information which is not required for the response. I'm absolutely okay to let that information go. There's no problem. Let it go. I don't want to even collect that information which is not useful for me. But I don't want to lose that information like which is vital for my product, like whatever design we're going to work on, whatever response we want to create. But if there is something critical information, very important information that I want to retain, that I don't want to lose. See, because there's no point in doing some experiment and when you're not going to get result. So I do not want to just save information and just end up doing some experiment which is meaningless. So I want to know, where should I stop? Should I stop here? Should I stop here? Should I stop here? Where should I stop where I get just enough information which is required to make the result, to deliver the result? Having said that, I'm absolutely not in any mood to pay even a single penny for information which is not required. So I want to be wise here, where I want to, I'm okay with spending what is required versus what is sort of extra information. I don't want that extra information which is not required, not useful. Just let it go. And I'm happy to let it go. So how do we decide where should we stop? That is where it will be answered by this concept called confounding and alias structure. Now, for that, we have to look at this image to understand what is this confounding and alias structure. If I look at this three factors involved here, A, B, and C. If I talk about these 3 factors, how we'll be able to find a relation here? We've got 3 factors, each with 2 levels. Next, minus represents the low setting, plus represents the high setting. So 2 levels are there. So 2 levels, L2 to the power 3. 2 to the power 3 is 8 experiments. I should have done 8 for full factorial. How many did I do? 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So instead of doing 8 experiments, I did half. So I'm doing a half fraction design, and in that I'm doing only 4 experiments. Now, since you did less experiments, almost half of it, so you will lose information. And let's see, where do we get into trouble? What information we're losing here. When I conduct this experiment, the low set, like I use the design created was this low, low, and high. So I use low setting of A, low setting of B, and high setting of B, C. And I conduct this experiment, I get some result. Some result will be obtained. Then I use the low setting of this, high setting this, low setting this. I use this combination, run an experiment, I get some results. So I'll get these 4 results with me. Now, when I get this result, I know that there is an impact of main effect on the result, impact of main effect on the result, impact of main effect on the result. But I do understand there are interactions also happening. Interaction effect will also have a role on the result. And I will have to understand how interaction works. So mathematically, if I say A and B minus minus will become plus, BC minus plus will become minus, A and C plus minus will become minus. AB minus plus is minus, BC plus minus is minus, and AC minus minus is going to be plus. AB plus minus is minus, BC minus minus will become plus, and AC plus minus will be minus, and plus plus is always plus. With that being said, if I see the setting of A is minus, minus, plus, plus, it's same setting like BC, minus, minus, plus, plus. So when I see this result, well, basically, what it tells me that when I want to see the impact on the result, I cannot differentiate between A and B, C interaction between B and C will create exactly the same setting, which I will have for A. These settings have become what we call as confounded. Confounding is when the settings become identical. And we'll say A is an alias of BC. That means clone or replica. I see B is minus, plus, minus, plus. It's same as AC interaction. When A and C interact, they make AC interaction, which is minus, plus, minus, plus, same setting. So I can't differentiate between B and AC interaction. I can't differentiate between C and AB interaction. Why? Because there is confounding. When the settings become same, it's confounding. And due to confounding, the terms involved will be called aliased. So because of this confounding problem, I cannot tell you, when I see the result, I can't tell you whether the result is changed because of A or the result got changed because of BC interaction, because they're same. I can't tell you whether the result changed because of B or AC interaction. I can't tell you whether the change in the result is because of C or AB interaction, because they have confounded, they have become a clone. That's the problem. So the only scenario where you will not have this problem of confounding when you do full factorial, because you're doing all experiments. The moment you do less experiment, confounding starts. This is confounding. Confounding gets bigger, even bigger, even bigger. So the lesser you experiment do, the more the complex confounding becomes. Here is less confounding, even more confounding, even more. So confounding gets bigger and bigger as you go down and do less experiments. So, well, there is no way to exclude confounding. You will have to deal with confounding, because only confounding is not seen when you have this full factorial done, which we will not be doing because full factorial is very expensive. You can't do those many experiments. And since you will be saving money, you have to deal with confounding. So bottom line, you can't say that I don't want confounding, because confounding will happen. There's no choice. Well, big question is how much of confounding will be acceptable, with which I can still take a decision and get the results done. So how much confounding is acceptable is going to be answered by something called design resolution. Now, what is the design resolution? We have to see that here. Stat, DOE, factorial, create factorial. And here is this an option of display available design. There's some color codes, and that's where the color codes are numbers, and that's where the answer is. How much of confounding is okay and acceptable? If you see, there are factors written here, 2 factor, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So factors are given here. By default, it's 2 levels. So 2 levels, 2 factors, 2 to the power 2, 4, full factorial, green. 2 levels each, 3 factors, 2 to the power 3 is 8. So you have 3 factors, do full experiment, you get 8 experiments to be done. But it says for 3 factors, you have a choice of doing 4 experiments also. That's shaded red. You got 4 factors, you have like 2 to the power 4 is 16, but it tells you you have a choice of doing 8 experiments also, but that's number 4. If you use 5 factors, 2 to the power 5 is going to be 32, which is full experiments. You have a choice of doing 16, you have a choice of doing 8 also. So when I see there is all throughout, when I see there are three things, like two things which are common. The color, the red color, the yellow color, and the green color. There are only three colors that you are talking about here. So these are technically the answer here. Red, yellow, and green. Whenever you see red, it's always the number 3. Number 3 is always red. Yellow is always number 4. Number 4 is always shaded to number 4. And green is 5th onward, everything is 5th. 5 plus is all green. Look at this. 5 is green, 6 is green, 7 is green, 8 is green, everything is green, full is green, everything is green after that. So technically, red will always be 3, yellow will always be 4, and the green onwards, everything becomes green. So the answer of how much of confounding is okay is in this colors or the number system that you have here. And let's go and understand what these numbers mean. So we'll have to just, the last piece of when I say confusion or which can be there, because the rest is all the same. Like it doesn't matter which test, which kind of design or experiment you work on. So here I'm going to delete this so that we can talk about this and understand it. When I see a number 3, if I was given a choice to add 2 numbers where 0 is not an option, how can you add 2 numbers? Which 2 numbers can you add to get a number 3? I can only do 1 plus 2. If I do 1 plus 2, it will give me a total sum of 3, where 0 is not an option. If I have to add 2 numbers only, and the sum of those 2 numbers should be number 4. So I can do 1 plus 3 to get a 4, or second option is I can do a 2 plus 2 to get a 4. That's the 2 options I've got. If I have 2 numbers to add and to get number 5, I can do 1 plus 4 will give me a 5. And then I can do a 2 plus 3 to get a 5. These are the options I've got to deal with. And if I do this, I will be able to get this like required number. Yes, you could get questions around these only. Like, what do you mean by 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3? Whenever you see 1, what it means, 1 means the main effect, like A, B, C, D. All main effects are represented as 1. 2 means 2-factor interaction, like A, B, B, C, C, D. So it says that if you choose a third design, the red one, you will see the confounding between main effect and the 2-factor. The 2-factor will have a same setting, like so A might have a same setting like BC. BC might have same setting like A. So the confounding will be between the main effect and the 2-factor interaction. And that's a worse level of confounding. Why? The real game changers in the result, that result can only be changed either because of main effect or because of 2-factor. And here the main game changers have themselves merged. That's why the color is red, deep red. Why? Because these are the ones which I want to see clearly without confounding. My only intention, when I said just enough information, just the required information, what I need to deliver result is the main effect without confounding and the 2-factor interaction without confounding, because these have the capability of changing the result. The p-value will be less than 0.05 for these factors. So I want to see the main effect clearly. I want to see 2-factor clearly. And my problem with third design is that these have themselves merged together. The real game changers have made the mess. So I will call this worst design here. The worst design here is this one. Confounding is maximum, the worst confounding, because the main game changers are merged together. If I go for a fourth resolution design, I have two types of confounding, 1 plus 3 and 2 plus 2. When I see 1 plus 3, here 1 means main effect and 3 means 3-factor interaction, like ABC, BCD, CDA, something like 3-factor combining together. But whenever we see this result, I will be honestly happy. Why? Because I know more than 2-level interaction is more of a theory. So this is non-significant by default. So anything which is more than 2-level, it's non-existent. Mathematically, on a paper, theory, you can show A, B, C interaction. Well, it doesn't matter. B, C, D interaction doesn't matter. Forget about it, doesn't happen. So you might say that setting of A is same as B, C, D. The setting of whatever A we get here, plus, minus, whatever it is, and B, C, D interaction is also the same. It doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't have a significant impact. It's more on the theory side. So just forget about it. You can say the main effect is free. Because more than 2-level, remember we were only filtering on up to 2-level, because more than 2-level, it's all more of a theory. So I can say my main effect is free here, which is what I want. But my problem here is still there. Why? Because there's one more confounding happening, which is 2-factor between 2-factor. Like AB might have same setting like BD or CD. And I know that 2 factors are powerful. 2 factors. So it's quite possible AB might be changing result or BD might be changing. And I don't know which one. So there's a confounding which is still there, which is where I'm still stuck up. I'm half free, half stack. So the red color slightly dilutes to yellow. But when I choose a fifth resolution design, my main effect is confounded with 4 level, which is illogical, doesn't happen. So my main effect is 3. And 2 level, which is like B, C, like could be confounded with the A, B, D, something like that. I know 3 factors doesn't happen. So my 2 factor also turns okay. Why? Because 3 doesn't happen. So I can say 2 also becomes free. And that's what I wanted. I wanted bare minimum, the main effect to be free and the 2 factor to be free, and got job done. That's why it gets a green color. Green, this is a clean design where I do the lowest possible experiment without confounding, because this one main becomes free, 2 becomes free, and I will say this is a clean design. 5th onward, everything is green. So the lowest experiment that I can do is 5th design, which is a clean design. I can get the job done at 5th resolution. So when we are doing the experimentation, we prefer to use a 5th resolution design, which is the green design. Why? Because I will get the results clearly about main effect, about 2 levels. Why? Because they are not confounded with, they confounded high level, which doesn't matter. So all in all, this is where my results will get clear. Now, having said that, does it mean that we never use the 3rd design? The answer is we always 100% use the 3rd design first. We never use this 4th one. So we use this one and followed by the 5th one. And let's see, how do we go about doing it? All in all, let's see how we use, if you have to start a DOE experiment, how this entire story will start in the, like from a setup perspective. So thumb rule says, you should start with your fishbone diagram, you discuss and explore list of probable root causes, a lot of them. Like, so you, if the number of probable factors they talk about, they're up to maximum 5, if they're up to 5 maximum, then you can directly do a full factor, because 5 factors, even if you do full factorial, if you have full factorial to be done for 5 factors, you will not have too much of cost here. So because 2 to the power 5 is 32, that I can manage. And yes, if I want to go with a 5th design, 5th resolution for 5 factors, I will require only 16. So when you have not too many factors, you can directly go with a 5th resolution or a full factorial, which is easy. Both of them. Full factor is by default green and 5th is green. So they're green designs I can directly do. So if it's up to 5 level, 5 factors, I will always directly go and straight away go and conduct the experiment with either full factor or 5 level. Let's see this one. Here, if I can just go back here and show you this option. Assistant, DOE, plan and create. What is your plan? Like basically, if you have 2 to 5 factors, up to 5, you directly go and plan your experiment, design, etc. But if it's more than 5, then say, sorry, stop. Like, don't go for that, screen that first. It's like you have a job interview, you have one position, like one person to hire, and say 20 people have applied for job interview, and you have only one position. Will you interview 20 people? The answer is no. I might want to give them a written assessment. Say 10 people out of them failed. Would you go and interview those 10 people? Probably not. I might want to go and get some sort of group discussion, some sort of activity to be done. And they say 5 failed there also. Now I have final 5 with me. Now I can interview 5 and select 1. So whenever you have got a lot of things to choose, first you need to screen them, filter them. And that's what it says. Whenever you have more than 5 factors, so 6 onwards, filter them, funnel. Like you may discuss and brainstorm with like 30 factors, 35 factors. If you have so many factors, everything is not a root cause. A lot of them are null factors, a lot of them. Very few are alternate hypotheses. So why would you waste money? So it says, first of all, use a filtration is done with third resolution design. So when the filtration tests are 3rd resolution, when you will apply them, you will filter out only the alternate hypothesis, only the root causes. Then you go and plan this experiment with them. So first of all, discuss, do a fishbone diagram. Ideally, you'll have a lot of factors. Use the 3rd resolution design, find the root causes, and then apply the full factorial or a 5th resolution to get the real root cause identified. So we'll see a quick example of that, but how do you go about doing it is what we need to understand here. All in all, whenever you have more than 5 factors, you cannot do a full factorial because it's expensive, or for that matter, 5th resolution can't do, you have to screen them. And for that screening, you will use a 3rd resolution design. In the 3rd resolution design, you only study the main effect. You don't study the interaction. I want to simply find the main effect, which is why I want to find alternate hypothesis. I want to separate the null factors and the root causes, which is the alternate ones. For that, the experiment is done through a Plackett-Berman design. This is 3rd resolution design, specialist experiment. This is the one where we can test 47 factors with just 48 experiments. And yes, you do get questions around it. Like how do you decide how many experiments? So I'm going to do this right now. Say if you have got 2 factors to choose, you can do full factorial or fifth addition. If you got 3 factors, you can do still the same. 4 factors, 5 factors, you do this. But if you got 6 factors, you can't do this. You have to do a Plackett-Berman. So if you got 6 factors, you will require 12 experiments to be done. Minimum required experiment in Plackett-Berman is 12. So 6 factors will be tested on 12. 7 factors will also be tested on 12. 8 factors, 9 factors, 10 factors, 11 factors, you still need only 12. So minimum you start with 12 experiments. So 6 also needs 12 and 11 also needs 12. All of them need 12. So minimum 12 will be required. But if you've got 12 factors in the brainstorming, you will require 16. It will increase by 4. 13 will require 16. 14 will require 16. 15 will require 16. But 16 cannot be tested with 16. It will increase by 4. It increased by 4 always. So now 17 can be tested with 20, 20, 19 with 20, but 20 cannot be tested with 20. You need 24, 24, 24, 24. 23 can be tested with 24, but 24 will require 28, 28, 28, 28. 28 will require 32, 32, 32, 32. 32 will require 36. 36 will require 40. 40 will require 44. 44 will require 48. 48, 48, 48. The 47 factors, 48 runs is what you do. So when you're doing an experiment, you could get a question like that. Well, if you're doing a Plackett-Berman, how many experiments will be required if you've got 22 factors? You've got 37 factors. You will have to go and pick it up from this one. Basically, how many experiments have to be done. So just a quick example, just to make sure, before we do a Plackett-Berman right now, this hypothetical scenario, you have a fishbone diagram done, example only. You picked up 20 factors during discussion. For 20 factors, you look at, okay, I need 24 experiments. So I will conduct 24 experiments for 20 factors, and I will only study the main effect. For all 20 factors, I'll see the p-value. And you get a p-value, and just hypothetically saying, so you got 4 p-values which were less than 0.05. There were alternate hypotheses. So that means these are 4 identified root causes. Now, since I know their root cause, go full throttle. Go and do a full factorial, do a fifth resolution, do everything, study interaction, do everything, full look for the best optimum setting, but not before that. There's no point in wasting your time and money for things which are not been verified. So why? First of all, verify, is it the root cause with the Plackett-Berman? And when you find the root cause, go and explore everything in detail with this one. So look for the best optimum result and all those things. So let's take a quick example of this. Well, not the real data, but obviously the real scenario. There were a lot of car manufacturers, well, talking about mostly this Audi, Ferrari, or BMW, whatever you call this. There are a lot of automobile manufacturers. They were facing a big problem at one point in time. There's a car logo. There were a lot of complaints from the customer that car logo is missing. Like, so somebody bought a car, was like, obviously was driving a car. And one fine day you realize the car logo is missing, the brand logo. But such a shame to this big brand that you have a car roaming around the city, you can recognize the car, but the logo is missing. So, well, there was a manufacturing, like a problem, which is defect. Well, it was not sticking around properly. Because you press it too hard, it'll make a dent. If you, like, the temperature was, it would damage the paint. A lot of things were there, whatever issue was there. So they had to brainstorm and come up with a lot of DOE experiments to find how should you bind that. The strength, the binding strength was supposed to be increased so that it can stick around and does not fall. Like so, well, they come up with a lot of factors, and we have just randomly created a simulation, a scenario here. So these were, say, 7 different factors. And all these have like first low level, high level, low level, high level. We've discussed, so it will just be discussed between the team. So if I go with the full factorial, these are 7 factors. So 2 to the power 7 will require 128 experiments. Why would you waste money? Are these all root causes? The answer is no. Why should I waste money for that? I'll rather do a Plackett-Berman and do just only 12. Find out the root cause and then do a full factorial for those. So I will rather do a Plackett-Berman design, and I will create those experiments. So like what we have done is we can use a Plackett-Berman here. Go to DOE, factorial, create factorial. There's an option of Plackett-Berman. You can use like 7 factors. It'll give you the option of 12 experiments. Click OK. Like let ABCD, you know what is ABCD here? Given ABCD, you coded them -1 +1 represent the low and high setting. Well, leave it like that. What is A, what is low and high? I know that because it's given here. And I can create a design. And this is what I have as design. Right? So this is the design. So I'll be actually trying to do the whatever the state, like I will be using this combination, and I'll be trying, once this combination is run, I will try to like apply that logo on the metal body, whatever body, and then with a machine, I will try to pull that logo, and the machine is going to measure the strength required to pull the logo. Higher the strength, better it is. That means the job is well done correctly, and then you have to put a lot of effort to pull that logo from the machine, from the car. So that means higher the better. So they want to optimize the strength. So we did it 3 times, like the standard practice. Same process. Process remains the same. We copy and paste like this data. Let's understand how we do a placket burn here. So I'm going to paste this data, and we'll follow the same drill the way we did it last time. That DOE factorial, analyze the factorial design. It'll give me error, which is fine. I'll select all the factors A to G, all of the factors, go to low and high. A -1 +1 has been picked up in data. Click on OK. In the response, I put the average strength. In the terms, I will only select one. Why? I'm studying only main effect, third resolution design. You only study main effect and not the interaction. So if I just look at this, why would you waste your money for studying this? Look at this. If you want to scroll and see how much data we're talking. These are the interactions. Why would you waste time there? So much of time that you will end up wasting to study for first level, second level, third level, fourth level. So level, how many level of interaction we want to study? It is illogical. Right now, they are not root causes. I may want to study when I know they are root causes. So I'll just go to drop down and pick up only one, main effects only. I want to filter out only the root causes. Rest I want to neglect. I click OK. Have a look at this. This is where is anything alternate here? Anything which is a root cause?
No.
Nothing. Overall model is bad, 39.93%. Overall model is quite bad. Let's scroll down and let's start removing the lowest one. If I remove the lowest in interaction, like main effect, not interaction, but lowest one, if I remove M from this model. Did you see this increase in, from that was 39, I guess? 39.93. Now see, do you see an increase here, 49? Do you see anything turning alternate? I guess one has turned alternate or what? Yeah. E, look at this E. And the moment you remove one element, which is junk, it's one is turned alternate. Look at this impact, 49, 39 to 49. Let's scroll down. Now remove C, lowest one. Throw this back. Look at this, it's further increased to 54.95. And I guess you have one more, E, and I guess A also. A has also turned alternate, 0.035. Scroll down. G. G from the situation. It further slightly increased to 58.69. There was no additional alternate hypothesis has been seen here. I will remove B now. Doing B. $60.69. We started from 39, gone to 60.69, and still this is also not. So this is all the time to remove this one. Like look at this value of 60.69 now. Now I'm going to remove the lowest one, which is B, and which is not significant. The moment I remove B, you'll see a drop. Any logical reason why you saw a drop? Because earlier it was 60.69, and I had a null factor D. I removed that null factor D, and I saw a drop in the overall R squared adjusted. Why do you think that might happen? Any possible reason? It might be having some interaction with some other factor. Some interaction, very negligible, but some interaction must be there, which is fine. Now, since you have identified the real root causes, these are the ones which are significant ones. They both alternate. You found the root cause. Now, if you want to study the interaction, if you want to go and actually conduct experiment with these two factors, that they are the real root causes. If you want to see how impactful it would it be, you just include their interaction also. A and E are the significant ones. If I just include A and E interaction in this one, A and E and AE interaction. Let's see the overall score. 94.5. These are the ones. The missing element was the interaction. Yes, you filter out the root causes and then look at their interaction. Look at this impact, 94.54. And this is where you have absolute control. Our 100% strength is actually controlled by these two, like almost 94.5 or roughly 95. There could be some other factor which can also be explored to get it to 99, 99, something like higher. This is pretty good. Your strength is in control of 94. Like, so this alone, these two factors and their interaction is contributing and controlling the strength of about 94.5%. Pretty high. So yes, you filter out your root cause. So whenever you start with your list of probable root cause being too high, well, this is what you'll always have. You'll always start with your placket movement. Filter out the root causes. Get your alternate hypothesis for main effects. Go and study and conduct one more fresh experiment, and now study with a full factorial design, a fifth resolution design, and study the interaction, find out the optimum level by looking at the response optimizer. That can be done. So always remember one thing, the first process is to look at the number of factors, which will always be higher than 5. So you'll always do a screening design followed by the fifth resolution or fourth, like this. That's pretty much on this one. If it's okay and clear, please confirm, because then we have a last topic to be checked here, which is about those 4 columns we talked about. The 4 columns which we have, I said we'll be talking about them. They are important for analysis time. But that's all. Like this, not too much on the question answer part. There's more on the practical side. I said there will be less on the question side. Is it anything that needs clarity on the Plackett-Berman design? Then pretty much this is the one which is we're talking about. Noise factor. This is what we covered. Any questions that you need more? This needs practice. This needs experiment, because all the practical stuff. Again, because it is the beginning of DOE. From here on, it's going to be about like sort of a application of DOE, which needs more like a study. Absolutely, just a beginning. But again, good enough for you to get going into the DOE part. Any clarification, any clarity on any of these steps with it? Why? But see, the design was created by this gentleman. So whoever created design and got this, what a PhD is done, well, practically they have their own logic and reason. So they created their own design. And this is just one of the designs. A lot of people have a lot of designs, different models created. So whatever mathematical reasoning they have, they kind of used it. This design sort of helped us to kind of navigate through, because initially people only had full factorial, but that's too expensive. So the people came up with more models. There's a lot of other models. There's the Taguchi model, well, that's a part of your master black. But Taguchi model is how people construct this, like global. We'll talk about this is the one we talk about Taguchi model. The response service. There are a lot of other ones, which is they're more advanced ones. And practically for destructive designing, these are used. These are like very like this part of the master black. But all in all, these are the ones which we are taught to deal with. For us, we have to deal with the Plackett-Berman, basically the third resolution and the full factorial side from our Plackett. Quick one here. These are 4 elements, and this we will be quickly talking about the 4 things. Repetition. We saw that whenever we conducted this experiment, there was a variation in the result. They're not always the same. A small variation is always there. And that is the reason why we get this repetition. This is repetition. What is repetition? Repeating the same experiment without changing setup. Without changing setup, you run the experiment once again and again. At least 3, 5 is recommended, higher the better. And then you take the average, so that at least you get to know how much of variation is because of those noise factors. What are noise factors? Environmental conditions, basically atmospheric temperature, pressure, humidity, the operator fatigue. Basically, there could be a lot of factors which are environmental and uncontrollable factors, which are always present, which are beyond your control. Like when I come to work, man, in the morning, I'm full of energy. By the time I'm going back home, I'm already done. So when are you conducting experiment? My energy level will also have an impact on the result. So that is also a fatigue, which is also a noise factor. So repetition is something which will be done to cover up the way, to check if there is a difference in the measurements. And yes, there will be, if you take an average, you will be able to find the middle value between the variation range. Like so you always are expected to do at least 3, 5 will be required. Now, same thing said and done. Replication is conducting same experiment at different time of the day, like morning, afternoon, evening, like the time factor, like can play a role. Like I was talking about the fatigue, like when I come to morning or afternoon or evening, my energy level would be not be the same. So my result, my effort, my outcome will also be impacted by my energy levels. But for that matter, somebody is in we're doing like in case of a manufacturing world, the atmospheric temperature has a lot of impact. Like if we're measuring the length of a metal or gas, like gases expand when it's hot, metals expand when it's hot, and they contract also when it's cold. So practically there will be always impact of time factor. So yes, what you do is you run same experiment at different time of the day, within a day, but at different time. Some experiment morning, afternoon, evening, to see is the time change playing a role within a day. That is what we call as replication. You're replicating at a different time of the day. Repetition is immediately running those experiments. Replication is running at a different time interval within the day, morning, afternoon, evening kind of thing. But when you want to do it for a longer duration, like a day wise, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you want to see a day wise there will be impact or not, or you want to do a week wise, week 1, week 2, week 3, or month wise. Whenever you want to block at a longer duration, you can block by longer duration to see the impact of a long-term duration impact. It does have an impact. Like so, when you compare week 1 versus week 2 versus week 3, you see a change. There is an impact always coming from week-wise prediction. If you're talking about you're doing this experiment in a marketing kind of thing, so when are you using that marketing? Is it a weekday or weekend? Will have an impact. The longer duration will always have an impact where people do that blocking. So replication and blocking, we'll just see how to do this. Say if I want to make an experiment, just as like a quick example here, I'm going to make a full factorial like for 2 levels and say 3 factors. I will do a full factorial experiment. Right now, I'm talking about replicate and the blocking together. So first of all, I'm picking to replicate. So I want to do 3 replicates. 1 in morning, 1 in afternoon, 1 in evening. So 3 replicates. And I'm not touching the block, right? I'll tell you what will be the problem if I don't touch the block, right? So I click OK, factors are ABC, and I will have, so 2 to the power 3 is 8. And I'm going to run 8, 8, 8, which is 24 experiments. 8 in morning, 8 in afternoon. Let's see, what problem do I get into? So it gives me all experiments like this. I don't know which ones are morning, which ones are afternoon, which ones are evening. I don't know. What we can do is here, I can make things easier for me by choosing a block. Block will create set of experiments. So I'll do, when I was doing this experiment thing, I can select 3 blocks. I need 3 blocks. So to block it so that I can find which is morning, afternoon, evening. If I block it, I will be able to see blocks. It'll tell me, okay, these are first block, that's a morning experiment. This is second block, afternoon experiments. These are evening experiments. So you can block it. You want to do it by, like, if you want to block it by 7 days, you can do that block by 7 days also. So while you can run seven trials here and block it by 7 things. So it'll give you Monday to Sunday. Let's run some experiment Monday. This is Tuesday. The second block is Tuesday. Fifth block is say Saturday. So Friday. This is Thursday. This is first block is Monday. And then 7th block is the Sunday one. And the 6th block is Saturday. 3rd block is Wednesday. So you get it's been shuffled also. So you will be able to see that blocking will help you to understand, is there a particular segment working exceptionally good or exceptionally bad also. So that covers this. If you talk about the block part, which is what we wanted to understand, what is blocking? Block will help you to replicate and get a set created. Now, apart from that, now there is one more term which we see here is randomization. It is all about changing the sequence of experiments. That's it. Changing the sequence. So by default, Minitab always changes experiment. Now we'll be talking about the first 2 columns, standard order, run order. This is related to randomization. So I'll just do a Control E and do an uncheck of this button. If I uncheck, by default, it's randomized. If I uncheck, now we'll be able to see what does it do. The standard order is the order in which Minitab is creating design. So Minitab created this design first, this design second, this design third. Minitab is creating design in this sequence in the backend. In the backend, it's creating design in the sequence. But When you uncheck it, it's going to run in the same sequence. But when you randomize it, it's always going to run in a different sequence. So two people doing same experiment will not be doing same experiment at same time. So like it's like examination. You get 50 questions. I get the same 50 questions. And my question number 1 is question number 20 for you. And your question number 20 could be question number 31 for me. It will change, randomized. So not the questions will change, but the sequence will change. So this is 31st experiment running first, 30th running experiment running second, 29th running third, 27th running fourth, 28th running fifth, 32 running sixth, 26th running seventh. So it is shuffled experiment. One person is doing this experiment, second person is also doing experiment. This guy will get a different sequence, absolutely different sequence. So randomization will help you to avoid auditor bias, because one person can do it, another person can copy it. So we always work with the randomization. So this covers the first two columns and block we've talked about. So these are related to the noise factors we talked about here, noise factors which are there. So where we go ahead and apply the design, we can select this, replicate the blocking. Now we'll talk about what is the center points. For that, I'll have rather than let me just pick up, give you a quick example. Let me pick up 3 factors. Let me define 2 factors. Let's start with 2 runs. 2 blocks. Start 3 and 2. I'm just doing it just to give you what is the center point. If I don't use a center point, let's just put it up. Say I want to use speed of the car 60, 120. Weight of the engine 200, 400 kilograms. Say tire pressure 30 and 35. Let's see if I just conduct this experiment. It will create 3 blocks and tell you try to run a car with this combination, try to run a car with this combination. Now, when I use a center point as this option, let's see what does it do. I can choose center points. I can choose in each block. We've got 3 blocks. In each block, give me say 2 center points. So what do you mean by center point? We'll see that. Give me 2 center. I'm deciding. It's my choice. I'm selecting 2 center points. You can decide 3, whatever you want to. These are extra experiments you will do. Center point, 2 in each block, per block. 3 blocks, each block will have 2 extra experiments. Let's see what done. Whenever you see in a block, whenever in a center point you see 0, look at these values. This is middle value between low and high. Middle value. Because we did 160, 120, it's picking up 90. We did 200, 400, it is picking up 300. We did 30, 35, it's picking up 32.5. Look at this, same middle value. Look at this, same middle values. So I've inserted 2 extra experiment middle values, because without making it 3 level, I'm trying to understand what if I know, because we have a result at low level and high level, but we are also giving Minitab some more extra information. This is the result we get on middle value. So you can have much more better idea to give me a better combination, a result which has never been seen before. Probably you may be able to help me and guide me, get a better result in that. So we'll always use some extra, because if I make 3 level, it will become very expensive. So I can choose to add some manual like middle points without making it 3 level. So it will increase the quality of the model. You'll be able to get a better result when you do that. Center points is only for improving the quality of the results. This is pretty much what you do. Quick check from a DOE perspective. This is all what we had in the syllabus. But again, quick check with everyone if it's okay. We shall first actually start in a reverse order. We'll be doing a practice test for DOE first, then the control chart, which we'll have listed. If it's okay.
I have one confusion that in the second one, when we have 4th level, we neglect A with the ABC. And in the last one, in the 5th one, we appreciate that A is neglecting, A don't have some relationship with the ABC, and we have independent factor A. Okay. And we like green one. Yes, this one. So I'm confused in that one.
So here, see, when I say 1 plus 3, means A might have same setting like B, C, D. More than 2 doesn't happen. Okay. See here. So here we're saying A might have same setting like B, C, D, A. Well, more than 2 levels simply doesn't happen. So technically, my main effect becomes 3 the moment it's more than 2. I'll say it's not doesn't make sense. Here because see, I'm saying B, C has same setting like BD. Now that's possible. BC could be strong, BD could be strong. So I'm confused. But here I don't have confusion because more than 2 level is not going to be impacting. More than 2 level will impact me. Here I'm saying BC might have same setting like say ABD. More than 2 level doesn't happen. So well, I'm free with it. I'm okay with it.
So all two are not possible.
Level interactions are significant. So the moment
Not significant.
Something more than 2 is irrelevant. So wherever
Irrelevant.
Interaction will be there, that's irrelevant.
Okay.
The question that you will be getting, you have that kind of question in the practice test also. So on this DOE, you get like a very limited question there because topics are not much. It's more on the practical side. I said practical side, you will be doing those experimentation. It's less on the topics and more on the practice side. So if we just let's have a quick look at the DOE. So that the conceptually should be clear. It's not too much in terms of topics, but again, it is just like as one chapter ends, another chapter starts. So this is more of a start for the master black belt level, which is sort of setting up the foundation for master black belt, because in master black belt will go for Taguchi, response optimizer, the other designs also, which are way too complicated than this one. Maybe there will be more complication there. But all in all, this is the foundation. What do you just have a quick look at this one? OFAC experiment. Anyone would like to pitch in? One factor at a time. Perfect. Yes, that's correct. You're doing this experimental runs for 2 levels, 7 factors. That's correct. 2 to the power 7 is 128. Perfect. Levels are associated with that's factor. Factors have levels. Levels are related. Low level, high level of the factor. When experimental runs are performed at longer duration to see the variation in the response. Longer duration, please keep in mind. Longer duration to see the change in the results. It is the last one. Absolutely blocking. The longer duration, you're blocking it for longer duration. Create a set like week wise, day wise, longer duration. Experiment one will block. Repeating same experiment without changing the experimental condition to reduce the noise effect. What is that? Repeating same experiment without changing experimental condition. We are correct about that. That's repetition. Instantly repeating, immediately repeating, repeating instantly without changing experimental setup is repetition. Without changing experimental condition. That you did like 1, 2, 3 times, that was repetition. Replication is within a day, like a morning, afternoon, evening. How many experiments are required in Packet Berman? 32 experiments, 32 factors. Yeah, that's correct. 32 factors will require 36 experiments. When factor and interaction become identical, it's referred as. Absolutely, that's confounded. Settings are confounded, you can't study within them. Fourth resolution design, confounding will happen between. Fourth resolution design, the confounding will happen between. No, that's incorrect. That's also incorrect. Fourth resolution design. How can you add 2 numbers to get a number 4? That's what you got to understand. 4, how can you get a number 4? What are options you have? What options you have? 2 plus 2 to get a 4? Yes. And what else to get a number 4? There 1 plus 3 to get a 4? Yes. So I need to know. So main effect will be confounded with 3 level and 2 factor with 2 level. 1 plus, okay, confounding will happen. Well, whether it will be significant or not, doesn't matter. Bottom line, confounding will be there. Setting will be there, but that's not irrelevant. So I say main effect with 3 and 2 plus 2. 1 plus 3 will give me 4 and 2 plus 2 will give me. Well, it is not significant, but the confounding will be there. Settings will be same. That's okay. See, look at this. 1 plus 4, main effect is 1. 1 plus 4 will be 5, so that's not 4, 5. 1 plus 2 will be 3, which is not 4, technically. 1 plus 3 will be 4, which is good. But 3 plus 2 will be 5, which is not 5. So, let's see this one. Full factorial design has all possible runs performed, no confounding between main effect and the interaction effect, and no alias structure. Absolutely correct. Yes, all ABC. Yes. Changing the order of experiment is fun. That's all. Like, see, if you have understood this much, that can't, like, questions cannot go any farther than that. So this is more than enough. You understand these questions, you'll be fine with the DOE questions. Just try to keep in mind the questions that you have done. They're more than enough because the questions, there is not much left over in the top. So if you're fine with this, we're good with that question. Now, quick check with this one. Like, so we're left with this control phase questions, which are control limit calculation. Would you be, like, because that will take some time and for us to go and do that. Would you like to take a 10 minutes break and come back? Because I guess that will be fine. We'll be able to take a 10 minutes break and do this. Let's do that, I guess, because that will take time and we'll rather have some bit of more hassle to be dealt with here. So let's kind of talk about it. Let's take a 10 minutes break and we'll resume in 10 minutes. All right, so I'll be back from the break. So this was the last question we completed in the green belt part of it. So the remaining questions will start now, which is starting here. Which of the following control chart has a dynamic control limit? A zigzag control limit, control limits which are not constant. One answer is correct. One answer. Two answers. Yes, it's going to be a C chart. Like, sorry, rather, so you're saying C option or a C chart? Like, just is it the C chart or like you're talking about C chart or C option? C chart is wrong. So the option which is, so when, if you recall, the control limits, we like they had C chart, U chart, P chart, and NP chart. These are the charts. These are for defect charts, and these are defective charts. And this is a fixed sample. This is a variable sample. Whenever the samples are variable, you will have a zigzag control limit. Such control limits will be changing if your samples are the variable. So if if you're dealing with a U chart, the control limits will be dancing, and then same goes for P chart because it will be based on the sample size daily will be added. So this is going to be U chart. Option C, not the C chart. Option C. 2 out of 3 points greater than 2 standard from the mean, from either side of the mean, will result in special cause variation. That's rule number 5. Absolutely correct. 12 points in a row, alternating up and down, will it result in a special cause variation? Absolutely. 14 points it has to be, yes. Now, let's read this question because they will get, I guess, 2 questions on control limit calculations. And they're like straight 100% scoring marks. Let's try to read this question and please suggest me which control chart are we talking. That's all. All you have to do is understand which control chart is going to be used. That's it. That's all what you need. All you have to figure out is which control chart. And answer is actually in the question itself. All questions will have answers. And multiple ways you can figure out which control chart. Answers will be in the question. And they're actually in the question. So I'm just going to write down all the control charts. Like, so we have IMR chart first. We have X bar R chart. We have X bar S chart. These are continuous data control chart. If you're talking about discrete, we've got C chart, U chart, P chart, and P chart. So these are the control charts. All you have to understand which control X bar S chart. Perfect. You talk about X bar S. Let's see what all options we have. Say, first of all, it tells you S bar. There's nothing called S bar. Well, because that's the only chart which will have S bar standard deviation. That's one. It says mean standard deviation. That's the only chart which has standard deviation in it. That's one more. It talks about 13 samples per hour. More than 8 samples, more than 8 will be. So various indications. More than 8, it has to be an X bar S chart. It's talking about standard deviation. It has talking about S bar chart. It has to be X bar. The question will be solved with X bar S. That's all you have to figure out. Read the question carefully. You'll have your answers. All you do is now go back to your template and let's try to see this is X bar S chart. Let's do and plug in the values. What it says X double bar is average. This is what it's asking for. Calculate LCL UCL for S bar chart. Only for standard deviation chart, it's asking you to calculate because you have X bar and S chart. So average and standard deviation chart is only asking you the details for standard deviation chart and what it needs, what it's asking, giving you. Standard deviation is given as 3.39. Mean standard deviation is given as 3.39, which is S bar. S bar is 3.39. And then it says 13 samples every hour. So for variation chart, you don't need this value. Variation chart, you need only these two values. The moment I put in here, this value and this value, you only know you need 2 values for standard deviation chart. For this average chart, you need all the 3 values. But for variation chart, you only need 2 values. So if I get the value is 1.29 and it's 5.45, let's see. The question gives you only 2 values, 13 and this. This is required for variation chart. This is the one. Let's see this for this question. Which control chart are we talking about? Read the question carefully and try to understand which control chart are we talking about. IMR chart. It's telling you the IMR individual X bar, like the average for the individual, and then the moving range average. Tells you in one sample, which is clear. So, well, we have so many options to identify. Let's go and fill in the value of X bar. The average value is given as 5.81. Put 5.81. Moving range average has been given as 2.69. And I know the subgroup size is by default 1. I need this individual chart because this is only talking about individual chart control limits. Let's see, what is it? Minus 1.35 and 12.97. Let's read this question and figure out which control chart are we talking about. Absolutely, same. X bar S chart, absolutely. So let's go and say its historical process mean is given as 10.11. Now I'll put in the left. I'll put 10.11 here, 10.11. Then it says standard deviation mean is given as 2.36. We put 2.36. This subgroup size is 12 samples every hour. So putting 12 here. I need it for average chart. 8.09 and 12.3. Read this question and please figure out which control chart we're talking about. I will have to calculate for only which the range chart I have to calculate only for that. So mean range is given as 4.087 and 4 samples. Mean range chart is this one. So I'll put 4.087 and 4 samples. Yes, 4 samples and 0.65, 0 and 9.6, 0 and 9.3. How about this question? Which control chart are we talking about? Absolutely. IMR chart. We have a move link here. And it's given as moving range is 4.413. And you know what is one sample? 4.1413 mean value. 4.413. For variation chart, you need only 2 values. Value and this value. And you have 0 and 40. How about this control chart? Which control chart are you talking about? Absolutely. Let's talk about the mean range chart. Range chart is coming to picture. And it's talking about 7 samples rather than 8. Expecting value of your X bar R chart. Historical mean is given as 10.11. Put in X 10.11. Range average is given as 2.36. And the subgroup size is given as 7. All in is 9.12 and 1.09. Look at this question and please decide which control chart are you talking about. Absolutely. Look at the table. If you look at the table, you've got C, U, P, and NP. First of all, I like first thing is this is defect, this is defective, this is fixed, this is variable. It talks about historical defective rate. That has to be NP or P. It takes fixed sample 25%. All I have to do is plug in this value. What is my what is it? It says average defective is 14.254. Let's go to this one. 14.254. 6.828 and 21.6. How about this question? Both are asking. Correct. Thank you. With the U chart, it tells you based on variable sampling. You are correct. So see, it's a chart with defect rate. Either C chart or U chart. Now, is it fixed or variable? It says based on variable sampling. It's a U chart. We put in 4.27, 50. U chart, 4.27, 3.4, and 5.1. How about this one? This will not say defect or defective. Based on the data, you have to figure out whether you call defect or defective. You have to figure this out. Given the kind of problem we're talking about, will you call defect chart? Will you call it defective? Yes, you are right about that. Deliveries will be defective. Whether you deliver on time, you don't deliver on time, it's good or bad. So either you are able to deliver on time or not. So it's good or bad. So either delivery is good or bad. So yes, defective. Now, based on that, what would you call which control chart? NP or P? Absolutely. P chart. We'll be talking about general sampling of 10 to 15%, which is variable sampling. It's been done. The historical delivery date is 13.14% average, and we want to find for 17 delays. So 13.14% here. 13.14 is 1314 and 17 delivery. Minus 0.1144 0.372. And now this is pretty straightforward. Which control chart are we talking about? Only one chart left over. By the way, you just have one value required for that. It's one value which is given as for defect. So yes, no, for defect. It's the defect chart, right? Defect. The defect is going to be C or U. The defect. So this 14.97. 14.97. 3.326. You just have to read the question here clearly. Let's see, it's a defect chart. Defect, you have only two options. So whenever you're kind of solving these questions, if you get a question, let's just go in, like you'll have the table, like you'll have this Excel sheet. Try to see, okay, it's starting with defect. Okay, I'm starting with defect. You got two jobs, C or U. Is it a fixed sample? It doesn't tell you what variables, it has to be fixed. The previous question you see here, it's talking about what, like deliveries will be defective technically because they're not good or bad, like so they're good or bad. There are these two options only. So now, if it's a fixed sample, it tells you generally 10 to 15 pad sample, percent sample is used. So it's a variable. So I know it's a P chart for that. So I can just refer to this table. This table is there in both the table cases here for how many subgroups is given here and similarly for the attribute one. You will get a question. There is no doubts about it. You do get a question on the control limit. I guess there are two questions you get on the control limit. Do check them out. This is something, well, rule-based, you might get a true or false question. And these are like free-scoring ones because you just have to understand the control chart and just plug in the value that you ask. Straightforward. That's pretty much on the control limit one. Now, please do let me know now. What is that you need to discuss and like anything that you want us to discuss? We need more clarity. We can discuss now. So we're done from our like a preparation perspective. But if you have anything that you need more clarity on anything, you can discuss. Anyone has anything which needs more clarity, any topic which needs more clarity, we can discuss it. Right, good to see that I did check out some messages today that some people have done really well in the exam. So it was good to see the results and really, really happy to see that. So the green bulb one. Yeah, so green bulb. Some results I was shared with me in the chat, in the WhatsApp. Anyone needs any more clarity, anything which any topic will need more clarity on, any topic which is unclear. Anything which, how about everyone else? In case anything needs more clarity, good to discuss that. We still have time to discuss.
Sanjay, will you be helping us in downloading this Minitab software or how it is? After this?
What the Minitab part will come in picture. Let's just go and give you examination. Let's just get the examination done. Once you're done with the examination, when you get on a call for this like the project sessions, in that I'll be sharing the link also, which you can just go and download. So technically, Minitab link is right there on Google Drive. Yeah, like the link is there. I will just using a trial Minitab version. But I don't want you to do it right now when the project starts because you will only be able to do this. And this bring this, fill in this form. You will be. But I don't do that right now. Let's just wait for the time being. Well, when the time come in, so that you will be able to utilize that Minitab while you're doing the project. A, you will end up learning Minitab. B, you will end up kind of completing the project. So it will be good practice and as well as the clarity will come out. Mr. Sajjad, which one? Mixing of formulas. I didn't get the question here. Please, if you can clarify which one mixing of formulas.
No, sir. I was just the sense of humor that all the things are mixing up. So I will once again go through all the lectures. Then I will go for the black belt and green belt examination.
The only recommendation I would have is just go and pick this one by one and complete all of it. because see, they are by phase, they are like the topics are different, and you will be able to kind of get the clarity of, because every type of question is there, so they're segmented different. So you will be able to kind of understand what kind of question in every phase. So if you're done with this, you'll be fine. Like so, like a examination should not be a big. Honestly, it's not even like a should be taken as a like. So I would be honest, again, you'll be fine. If you just done with this exam, should not at all be a concern. Right. So my core objective is that yes, whatever we do, you just get over with this and let's start with the practice of the project part of it, because that's where your actual learning will come into picture. So that will give you the sense of confidence that okay, once I'm done with this, I can start taking up a project and I can start delivering it. Then honestly, that's what matters in life. This certificate would definitely be a good value add in the industry. In the end, after getting the certificate, you have to execute that job, which is where the project part I really want working on. So yeah, this it's more about see the till the time it's more of a theory, it will always be things which you have to memorize. So just get over with this like this practice test. If you're confident with this, you'll be fine with it. And yes, do download the Excel sheets before. Don't try to use them on Google Drive, because if you are going to use that in Google Drive, you'll not be able to fill in these values because you need to download them. Otherwise, you'll get read on the option.
So these papers are enough to clear the examinations?
Absolutely, yes. Just go ahead and give the exam, you'll be fine. Until you're based on past, if you just see the topics are still the same. So you can I can reframe the same question, because the questions cannot be, you can't so there are certain questions, I can change the language of questions, the number in the question, but again, you can't. So every type of question which can be created has been covered. So if you have practiced them enough, I may get another version of the same question, but again, it's like the same. You can't get out of the question frame. But I can like right now you're looking at 2 plus 2, you might see 5 plus 7 there. That's it. That all will be different. The conceptually, if you understood these questions, you'll be fine. Exam should not be so bad. I'm telling you based on the past feedback from all the previous batches. It's all.
Okay, I have one question that which statistical tool is used to find the relation between the dependent and independent variable?
Relationship. Well, the moment you say relationship, the answer was so A. When talk about statistical tool, A. When talk about relationship, will be the testing will be done through correlation or regression. Relationship. When you talk
Okay,
about
I answer regression because the regression is in the options, but my answer is incorrect in the test. In the green belt test.
Is it the graph we're talking about? Whether you have to tell me the exact word. So if it talks about the
exact question is which statistical tool is used to find out the relation between dependent and independent variable?
Yes. So relationship will always be correlation regression. So, but again,
yes.
And the option when you talk about the options, is it like are you reading the exact question there?
Yes. Which statistical tool is used to find out the relation between dependent and independent variable? And the most appropriate answer is regression. So I click the regression.
That's what I also have been given.
The other options are not there because I just copy paste my answers only after the test.
So you saying that that was marked wrong?
Yeah, it's marked wrong.
Can you just drop me, like you just share that question with me? I can, because I don't know the exam question there. But again,
okay. I will share you on WhatsApp.
Yeah. So because the answer has to be correct there. So see, I can either do correlation or regression to find a statistical relation between two numerical tools. When you talk about relationship, it'll be either correlation or regression. Graphically, I can show with a scatter plot. So graphical relationship can be shown through scatter plot, and statistical testing is the correlation regression. So when you do the scatter plot, when you do the correlation test, you get the graph also, which is the scatter plot. So graphically, I can show through scatter plot, and the statistical test is going to be done through a correlation or, for that matter, regression. That's meant for finding. So
okay, I will share you on WhatsApp.
Okay, I'll definitely like to have that checked there. Anyone else has any so if it's okay, we can definitely, but I would definitely want you to drop me a note in case you're preparing and you come across anything which needs more clarity. But I would want you to just get over with you. Honestly, it's because it's not too much. Try to finish this on or before, I guess, I'm not sure when it's the project session. I think we can check it out. Project session most likely is on most likely